we have the RTA tier list. Season 28, I kind of messed up this thing. It was giving like a black background and I wanted white so I have more light on my face or something like that. Easy as that. So, Season 28 G3 RTA tier list. I would say I include a little bit more G2, G3-ish in this time around, I think. Because for some reason the statistics, well, I think the statistics were added there for quite a while, so it doesn't have that many matches in the G3 quadrant. So some of the win rates look really boosted because 15,000 records is not really that much if you look at units that are picked for like 1% is 160, which is near to nothing. So like the win rates of those are just boosted by like a few people, so it looks kind of weird. So I'm going a little bit more back and forth between G1, G3 in this case. I still will mainly focus on G3, but I think I will also focus on a little bit less. And let me actually remove those things because no need to have ads in there for like, I don't know how long. CM8 and CM8. Okay, I think we can zoom in a bit just to make it a little bit more readable for you guys as well. And yeah, I included all of the units that I think are meta relevant. We're going through the same order as last time, makes it easier for me to look at all of the timestamps and then edit in all the timestamps. Once again, there's going to be all of the timestamps in there. I will also mention the unit and then the number that I placed them in. If you're familiar with the tier list that I'm making, I'm using this 100 all the way down to 55 in a meme tier. Main reason is it allows me to take a number in between, so I can make a tier in between that could be like 97 or 98 or something like that. Makes my tier list very flexible because there's that many units in there, and that's where I mostly end up doing like in-betweener tiers and that kind of stuff. So we have those numbers in there. I will name out the unit, also name the place where I place it at, so you can watch this as a podcast kind of thing or while you're cooking or anything that you're doing, like kind of not looking but still listening to this idiotic voice. And yeah, we added in all of the new units as well. A lot of them are going to be in meme tier, but I'm gonna check their win rate still and then go by that. Yeah, and that's just going to be the tier list in general. Once again, tier list as always, my opinion. You don't have to agree, but I would say from most people that I heard so far, and because also chat is involved in making this and that kind of stuff, and we've been doing this for quite a while, it is somewhat, to a certain extent, one of the more reliable tier lists out there. So, but definitely do take certain things with a grain of salt, or be like, okay, hey, I put very good runes on this or that unit, then it works. And also if there's like one like top tier player that puts like insane runes on one unit, doesn't necessarily make it a good unit. It just makes it workable for either his or her kit or his or her like play style or rune quality or box or anything like that. So keep those things in mind. I'm not gonna like over boost those kind of units right away. So yeah, with that all said, let's actually get into the tier list. I always say I want to stay under an hour and a half, which we're absolutely not going to be. I'm looking at the time stamp thingy below us right now. If you're watching it on the video, it's probably 2 hours 30, which... But okay, let's get off. And I think we start off with... I think Sion is not really used too much. I do see a little bit of Kabila being used here and there, but it's not that much. Is this Ikasha or is it the other one? I think it's actually Ikasha. I always mistake this one for Ashubel or Ikasha, and it could be either, it could be neither. It's Icarus. Oh, it's Icarus, not even Ikasha. Ikasha's the other one, yeah. Let's just start off with that unit. I think I didn't place it quite a few times. I don't think the unit is used as much. I don't like it as much. I do know that Obabo uses it for quite some time already, still always, but for me personally, yeah, 44% win rate, doesn't really have any pick rate. I'm gonna put in mind that, yeah, it's a light and dine, that's true. If any unit is below 1% pick rate in both quadrants, I do not have to place it in. And that is just something I'm gonna go by because it's just too low of being used for actually being good, and this one would be straight up meme tier because of the win rate anyways. Going into the ninjas, I think, or would Susanoo. I always check Susanoo. I kind of like it as a unit as a 5th pick. Well, we have Minato right now, which kind of pushes him out of his spot where he was kind of doing his stuff, which was mainly kind of. He wasn't even doing it that great. But those are also always the units that are annoying to find. Here it is. And does have some win rate, but it's pretty much not used at all, so I'm not going to be placing that in. So the first unit that's actually going to be placed in is Han, which I think is still one of the strongest single target damage dealers in the game. There's so many multi-hits to it. There's so much cycling to it. There's very low cooldowns to it. We have a 52 win rate in G1. We have a 51.69 win rate in G3. So those are definitely high numbers right there. And Han still gets for me, I would say an 85, maybe even a 90. I think I'm going to place Han at 90 for now. And we're just going to keep it at there for the moment. The first few units in the tier list are always like the hard one to place and afterwards, because a tier list is just a relative thing. The first unit you place doesn't have a relativity to anything, right? So from here is kind of my baseline, and from here I start building around it, like what do I think is good or bad. But yeah, on to the next unit, Camilla, a unit that I've actually been using a lot this season. Worked out very well. If you can give her some crazy runes, she actually does work very well for me. But weirdly enough, 14.62 on the pick rate, but 46% on the win rate. That is very low. It is quite a bit higher in G1, that's 49. So I guess in G1s it definitely does work. I feel like also her main gimmick is that she does a lot of those freezes, and those freezes kind of hard counter, like things like miles and that kind of stuff. So if you're looking for a miles counter, Camilla could be your thing. I definitely do value Camilla pretty high. I'm gonna put her at 80 right now. The win rate, if I was super win rate biased, I would have to place her definitely lower. But in this case, for my liking, I like this unit this high, but that's also, I put my absolute most god tier set that I have at her, and then she shined as she did. So, but I'm gonna put her at 80 for now. I think that's a solid spot. It's definitely high on the pick rate, so that is there. Then we have the Vanessa. Vanessa is 41 on the pick rate, which is absolutely very high. Is that the highest pick rate that we have out there? In G1, Vanessa is highest pick rate. Interesting. In G3, she is second highest pick rate. So she's definitely overspammed. Well, we have 48.91 in G1, and we have 48.66 in G3 as win rates, which definitely high numbers, and that gives me straight up an 85 for her. Maybe even higher, like if there is ever going to be an in-between tier, she's definitely the one that's going to be like looked at. No, wait, I'm just gonna put her at 90. I think Vanessa, because in current meta, like how many units are actually good as first picks? And I think Vanessa is one of the higher first picks out there right now. Yeah, in both G1 and G3, she is the highest first pick. And for that reason, that she's spammed that much and she's that flexible for a lot of the single target damage dealers that are out there right now, I feel like Vanessa deserves a 90 spot in current meta. And she's not buffed or anything that makes her better. It's just better fitting in current meta. And that makes her better in my opinion. Might be a little bit too high that I tune her down at a later moment, but we shall see. Next up is Clara. The unit even used 38% win rate in G3 with 0. No, this unit is not used. I would say in Special League, for some reason, it's one of the strongest units out there for 4-star Special League, 20-star Special League. Because you need units that do multiple things in one, and it's kind of okay if it kind of lacks at certain points. But yeah, in G3, you don't want to use this too many counters to it. Achroma. Let's see what Achroma does these days. Achroma used to be a very good unit, but Achroma, yeah, it kind of fell off as well, quite some. It is below 1% pick rate in G1, but it is above that in G3. However, win rates are like 46 in G3 and 48 in G1. I feel like she's just a 70 or a 65. I think I put her at 70 right now. I feel like if people put good runes to it, and it's pretty fast, but yeah, I would say that she's pretty good for like the cycling of the, what's it called? The cycling of the silence. She becomes pretty good, but she's still hard counted by additional damage artifacts. That's mainly the killer for her. Well, Han is definitely very strong, but I feel like Han is not spammable and Han is not usable in every draft, whereas Vanessa can be used in every draft. So she has more versatility that she can be used all of the time and she can be first picks. So for that reason, I feel like that Vanessa has that high pick rate, that first pick potential, which Han doesn't have. I feel like that Vanessa is kind of on the same tier for that reason. But things might change. Things might change. Next one is Eshir, one of the most common boosters, actually the most common light unit out there. Close to 20% pick rate, 49% win rate in G3. That's actually pretty high for that pick rate. And same thing, even close to 50 in G1. Eshir is definitely a unit to be feared. And it's also a unit that is used a lot. It's very good on the additional damage artifacts these days. So I think Eshir gets an 85 for me. Wait, is Eshir stronger than Camilla? It does enable a lot of drafts. It definitely does do. No, I think I'm actually... Well, the win rates does show that it is actually stronger. Decisions. Even at this point of the tier list, I'm already not sure. I do think that Eshir is probably stronger and more versatile. There's also a lot of people that just go like Vanessa Eshir and then plus counter picks. Those kind of drafts are definitely valid. And just Eshir in a lot of these kind of drafts is pretty strong. Plus, he has quite some like decent win rate up there. So I feel like Eshir in current meta is definitely strong. Next up, we go for dragons. How much is Ferret used? Ferret did see quite some play during the time where Wedjat and Laura were very strong. Currently, it's just Laura being very strong. Can still be paired up with a Wedjat, but it's a little bit less. In G1, it's actually 53.5% win rate, but I think it's always a 5th pick unit. And same thing for... Or in G1, it was 53, and G3, it's actually 54% win rate. So those are very high win rates. However, these win rates are super clouded by people only using this stuff if they actually have like a Laura or they have like some of those units where it just becomes a very strong 5th pick. So I think because of that win rate, he is good though, but I don't value it more than 75. You can't really spam the unit or anything. It's just good as a last pick, and that's there. Plus, you kind of have to have like the specific unit to make it good. Like if you have them, it goes up here. If you don't have it, it goes down there. So I kind of average it out there, I guess. I guess that's I do it. Zyros is not used. Chimera is definitely used, but used to what extent? Quite some. Win rate's not that high, 47 on 49. So, in G1 it's stronger. I would say the Tablo Chimera, the combination is stronger in G1. I don't like the unit as much as a speed lead because we have a lot of speed leads these days. Could be a counter pick here and there. Still has good damage on the S1 and S2 against enemy max HP. S1 is speed scaling, that's pretty decent. But I feel like there's better speed leads out there these days that Chimera kind of falls off. He's still like a 70 for me. And I think Seraph is not used enough to be placed on the tier list. It's actually used quite some in G1. Wow, interesting. It is used in G3, almost not used. In G1, it's used 1.35%. I guess it's mainly used next to Shizuka things. I think as is... Yeah, I would still not really value it that high. Like, I would go for 65, and I think it has to be paired up with the Shizuka. But since it's 1% pick rate, I put it in there. But I don't think the unit does as much value as a lot of other things would do. Then going on to the vampires. Vampires, starting off with Vert. Vert is going to be close to 50% win rate in G1 with 20% pick rate. That is definitely pretty high. In G3, he definitely falls off. And that's also where you can see like the quality of runes or like knowing how to counter things. And how about the ban rate? Ban rate actually goes slightly up in G3. But yeah, definitely something you can see that Vert in lower ranks. I think in lower ranks, it's also more common to go for Swift Vert. And Swift Vert is definitely very strong, but you have to commit pretty good Swift runes to it because of the base speed of 99, which also only gives Swift for a 25 extra speed, which is not that much. So yeah, Vert definitely on the triple revenge. He's definitely strong. He's definitely out there. I definitely give Vert a 75, but it's not something that you should be spamming, that kind of stuff. Just run a triple revenge 190 Vert. Well, my triple revenge Vert is currently 187 in Special League, but that's not a set everyone has, I guess. Next up, Julian, which I think is probably the strongest single target bruiser out there in the game right now. In G1 doesn't shine as much with a 50.71, still 8% on the pick rate. But I think in G3 it definitely has a lot higher win rate. 53 win rate and 10 on the pick. I think that also shows that G3 people, like, it's one of those units that if you have better rune quality, you can make it work better. However, is that something that lower end players can also do? Well, Julian needs very specific runes. If you have those specific runes of just high speed, crit rate, crit damage, attack, and you don't need any tanky stats on it, then Julian is your man, that's for sure. But I'm already going to do a in-betweener tier, but actually differently than I thought I would do. I'm gonna make a 92.5, and a 92.5 is going to fit in the Han and the Julian. Because I do feel that these two units are stronger, but I also feel that these two are pretty much top tier for the units out there right now. And Finesse is slightly below that because of just how strong these units are right now. Okay, these nuts. Let's see if that thing is ever picked. It's not really that common these days, I think. It's not as great. Cadiz near to no pick rate. Also win rate near non-existing for neither. Let's just not pick those units in. Then we go on to some Chimeras. Chimeras starting off with Theor. Theor is definitely a unit that's very solid as a last pick. Not used as much anymore. 50.77 win rate on G1. A 0.5% win rate higher on G3 with 51.28. Definitely nice win rates. But I kind of value it similar as Ferret. Like, it's definitely a nice 5th pick unit, but it's only a 5th pick. And the win rates, like for example, the win rates on these two units is a lot higher than Camilla. But Camilla you can spam. These two units you can't really spam, or you need to have the very specific team. So for that reason, I value Theor a little bit less than that. Rakan, most likely not used, don't even want to check. Lagmaron, I do see some people using Lagmaron here and there. Is it used that much? It's actually pretty high on the win rate, but this is just boosted by Obabo, most likely. 136 matches is not that much. How much do we have in here? Still above 1% pin rate, and it's 51 on the win rate in G1. It's 56 on G3, but that one barely counts. I would say it's too low on the pick rate to actually show that. Would I say that Lagmaron is stronger than Theor for me? Personally, I would say no. Like, if you have the very specific draft where it does work for you, maybe. But Lagmaron is also a unit, like, is he really worth your good runes right now? You have to rune up an Ethna, you have to rune up a Sekhmet, an Eshir, you have to rune up a Sonya. There's so many units that already need those kind of runes. And you need an insane rune depth on Swift to actually make this thing work as well. It's not a bad unit per se, but I would lower value him than a Theor. Because Theor, you kind of just want to make it fast enough where it's on Swift, just slower than your Vio unit. This thing you actually want to boost like crazy speeds, which makes it more difficult to rune up. Then we're going for Sean, one of the strongest Light units out there. Well, we have a lot of strong units in Light these days. 51.51 on the win rate in G3, 11 on the pick rate, which is definitely very high for a LD5. And on G1, it's actually 54.5% win rate, so definitely a lot higher win rate in G1 than in G3, and it's actually one of those units that kind of show that it's strong, but you don't need crazy rune quality because you don't have to go for those crit rates. And that makes a unit like this one, in this case, stronger in lower ranks because he shines with lesser runes. It's like a Miles thing. Shines with lesser runes, so therefore higher win rate in lower ranks. I would say Sean, is it on par with the Julian and the Han? I would almost say so, because I'm kind of like, I would say in G3 maybe a little bit less, but I would still, because it's kind of G3 tier list, but also a little bit like fluctuation around it. I would definitely say that Sean is very strong at the moment. It does enable a bunch of teams. However, you do get the hard issue of getting cleaved and that kind of stuff. But since he's that easy to build, I feel like I kind of fit him up there as well. Let me restart my runs, because always keep farming, right? Very important. Zeratu. Would you say 90? Nah, I think he's like overpicked in G3 and that's dropping his win rate. But overpicking on this amount of pick rate that's a lot of pick rate. Plus his ban rate is pretty high too, so I think I value him for this rank. Let's see what it looks like in the 4v4 for this one. Yeah, like that's the thing, like his win rate in the 4v4 actually goes up by a bunch. So he loses because he's out of the draft for like a whole % on win rate. That's insane for Sean. That is really insane for Sean, yeah. Zeratul. Let's look at Zeratul. Well, most likely Zeratul is so far down the bottom, not even used. Nope, no one uses this shit. Wants to use this shit for good reasons. Next up, we have a bunch of those birds. Are those birds even used? I feel like some people are just cleaving with weird shit. They might use it, but probably don't even want to add this in. Let's see if Teshar, because no, I'm not gonna even. If I can find it here at the top list, then it is used. Otherwise, nope. Eludia here at the top list. Also not. Nope. Not gonna look at it. So none of the birds are in. Then we go for these three things, which are the Archangels. Valkyrja. I have seen some people pick it up. It was actually picked up by Lest against the match of, I think, Kutso 10? I'm not 100% sure. But it's one of those things, like if you need a double immunity, it kind of works out. You can pick it if you have it ruined up, but it's not really something anyone uses commonly these days. Artemis, however, it's one of those things that if I would pull it, I would just make it a Leo counter, but that is his sole purpose and that's the only thing it would be doing. Is he doing it that good? I would say in G3 he's actually doing it pretty badly with 46 on the win rate. But in G1 he's actually doing it pretty good. It's 1% pick rate and it's close to 53 on the win rate, which is definitely not too bad. We're gonna place it in. I feel like an Artemis just gets like about a 70 for me. I would just make an Artemis super hard Leo counter and that's the only thing it does. Yeah, just that. Well, maybe 65. Yeah, I give it 65. It's not as great. Like, these units are more usable than Artemis. Yeah, I give it 65. Going into Oracles. The family that I use the most, I guess. Yeah, I do guess so. Where is Praha at these days? I'm pretty sure I should be looking at it because Praha is used a lot. No way to Praha. Praha's lower than... What the hell? Why is Praha so far down? Okay, so for G1, it's close to 51 win rate, 7% of pick rate. G3, it's 50 win rate with 6% pick rate. It did go down a little bit. It is mostly banned, actually. It does go up in win rate the moment that it is left in the match for both occasions. It's a strong unit, but it's one of those units you need pretty good rune quality to actually make it work. But I would still say that a Pra is 80 for me. Pra is definitely one of those versatile units. Plus the speed buff is just insanely strong. But it also gives you the versatility of being like fast, having that stripper, but still being able to have that healer in there, like if you get procced on or anything like that. Next one, I think the strongest of the family right now, the Juno. Juno is, is Juno one of the highest pick rate units? Juno's the number, that's like 6 or 7 pick rate unit. Okay, interesting. 25% pick rate in G1 with 50.50 on the win rate. If we make that a 4v4, does it go up in win rate? No, it's about the same. How about G3? G3 people have good Junos in general. 30% on the pick rate. That is very high for the pick rate. Does it go up in win rate? It does go up in win rate. It's also quite often banned. So yeah, definitely Juno is very high up there. I would say Juno gets 85 for me. No way, I feel like Juno's better than Eshir. Is it not? It is definitely there. Do I feel like it's as good as a Vanessa? Actually, I do. Because it just counters so many LD5 things that... And there's so many drafts that Juno becomes that must ban. So yeah, I'm gonna give Juno that 90 as well. There's so many drafts where Juno is just that must ban, or it's so strong. It's definitely worth good runes. It's one of the highest win rates in normal elemental things. It's definitely that hard counter against LD5. She's overspammed and for that reason probably dropped somewhat in win rate. So yeah, Juno gets a 90 for me. Next up, we have the... let's go for Sierra first. Sierra is actually one of those units some people have been picking up again. It's still not that great to me. It has that skill on the third skill where you absorb some attack bar. In G3, it's actually 7% pick rate, which is a lot higher than I expected. But we have 48.5% on the win rate. And in G1, that's a little bit higher. Let's see if she does better in or out of the match. She does better not being in the match. But it's about same. But 10%, that's actually a decent pick rate for her again. I would say she gets like a 80 value. It's still speed lead, it's still strong. You can definitely build your team around it and have like her kind of as a core, I guess. It's not as great, but I feel like she's kind of getting back up there. Would I feel that she's... Question for me, do I want to... Yeah, I think I want down her still. Like these are very spammable, these are very usable. She's still kind of like... I think she's kind of getting her way back in the meta, but she's also the moment that people are like, oh, wait, I counter Sierra this and this way, just like snipe it, I just kill it. Mei Wang insta-kill it, Marsha insta-kill it, those kind of things, like the people, or the moment people figure that out, then this thing is definitely gonna drop in win rate again. I think it's kind of just like climbing a little bit because people are not used to it. So yeah, I'm gonna give 75 to Sierra, but if there's ever an in-betweener tier, she probably gets the one-up compared to those other units, I would think so. Next up is Lima, maybe one of the better oracles at the moment. Yeah, definitely one of the better oracles at the moment. Why is this so messy where all of my good units are so far down and I have to search for them? Where the hell is Lima at? Lima shouldn't be this far down. Is it though? Let me know if you saw Lima somewhere. Third column. Ah, thank you. Epic. We have a Lima on close to 50% win rate with a 5.5% pick rate. Ban rate is pretty decent. In or out of the match. About same thing in G3. In G1, it's actually quite a bit higher. So people have more issues with immunity and that kind of stuff in G1. Which also win rate close to like 52%. Which definitely not bad. Lima for me, however, I feel like is she as good as Praha right now? Or is she better than Praha? That is kind of the thing for me. Like, it's for me personally, because I have both units, I'm kind of like, okay, do I put the good set on Lima or do I put the good set on Praha? Currently, it's on Lima. It was on Praha before. I'm kind of back and forthing like where I want to put it, but I feel like she's a little bit better than that, especially if we're looking more at G1. Probably Lima has some more usage than Praha at this moment, because in bruiser fights, she can do a little bit more. She cares less stuff about elemental stuff. Sometimes it's better to have like the good elements, but yeah, I think Lima's a little bit better than that. So I'm gonna put Lima at 85. I think that's a fair point for now. We have Gianna, which is also somewhat making back into the meta. She's a very strong 5th pick at the moment. Like, if there's a pick where you're like, okay, definitely going to be like full will on the draft and all of that kind of stuff, she's definitely still usable, but she's just that 5th pick right now. So I would say is she as good as this? No, actually I would say I'm gonna make that in between it here, because she's definitely better than the units that wait above. And we remove this row. And yeah, I just want to make that in between it there, mainly just for Gianna. I think there's going to be more up there. But Gianna's definitely better than these other units. Sierra, do you follow? Yeah, Sierra does follow as well. So yeah, I would say like Gianna's last pick is still definitely strong, but it's still one of those units that is hard counted by like the Hey Gang, that kind of stuff, being outsped, blah blah, all the kind of stuff. But if you draft her when they have no chance of drafting those things, it is pretty strong as well. Then we go into the OG family, which had a nerfed S1 because they were too OP, and they still feel too OP on those S1s. Starting off with Ifrit's favorite unit. Let's see how it does today. Where the hell are these units at? Anvil. Should be looking at it right now, but I'm not. Why is it so far down? Okay, NFL is a 50.4% on the win rate, 1.6 on the pick. In G1, G3, it's a bit lower. Definitely does make sense. It also showed that Ifrit had more struggles this season, because she's not as great. This side needs a search function. It would help me out. But yeah, I would give NFL. Personally, I like NFL as a 70. Like, I don't really like NFL. It's very straightforward. It's snipeable. You're probably not going to put high defense to it, that it cannot be killed by Sonya and that kind of stuff. Like, Sonya's going to wreck these kind of things anyway. So, yeah, I don't think NFL is that great, and we're just going to put NFL at a 70 for that reason. Rika, one of the most famous last picks, not used as much anymore because we have a lot of cool time increases. Makes it a little bit worse, but still. Win rates are 52 in G1 and 50 in G3. Goes up, of course, when not banned, because then people have to ban something else and they're kind of checkmated on the whole draft already. She's just a strong last pick, which she's kind of fitting with the other 2 units that are next to it, like Varad and the Tay are strong last picks on the 75. That's kind of what we're going for at the moment. Rika fits in there perfectly fine as well. Charlotte. We did see a lot of Charlotte coming in from Lest in SWC. A lot of G3 people actually try to be Lest, but they are not Lest, because Charlotte has like 9.5% on pick rate, but the win rate is only 46, which is definitely low. Well, Camilla was kind of low as well, but Camilla had higher pick rate even. And then for win rate in G1, it's actually 51.70. So that's definitely one of those units that shows in higher ranks, people can counter it better than in lower ranks. And in lower ranks, it actually shined very well. So I'm going to give her, for that reason, a 77.5. I don't think it's as good as a Camilla out there, but it's definitely kind of good. I might actually say that Praha this. Do I feel that's fair? Do I feel that's fair? No, I'm going to keep it. Then we go into the ridiculous tier. Laura. Where the hell damn Laura at? Probably somewhere at the top where this whole list doesn't make any sense. Okay, this whole list doesn't make any sense. Normally it's kind of listed by what is used the most, but currently it doesn't seem that case. Laura's still pretty high up. Laura win rate in G1 is 51.65. 11.8 on the pick rate. That is an insane high pick rate for a LD5. In G3, Laura is 55% win rate with a 26% pick rate. Is that the highest picked LD? That is the highest picked LD, and that is about like the 6th or 7th most picked. It's the 6th most picked unit in the game. And that's an LD5. 26% pick rate and 55 on the win rate. That shows 2 things. 1, people that have her always use her. 2, if people use them, they climb up in ranks. So there's more G3 people getting that stuff, and for that reason getting into G3, which makes the pool of more Laura owners G3, and then also more G3 people having Lauras. It's just boosting it back and forth. But yeah, Laura straight up 100 for me. Laura, I think I put Laura at 105 before. Did I? I'm not sure. I think I did. It was slightly nerfed on the S1 and the S3 to be less consistent for strips, but their skill 3 just does ridiculous damage. I think that's the main thing they can tune down. If they just tune down the damage by a bit, it's already quite a bit less. Yeah, that's the thing is she doesn't even care that much for strips, because a lot of the time she has that S1 proc, she has that S2 things. She has so much damage. Often Swift Morse go in front of her even. She has crazy base stats, so you don't even have to make her Swift. You can just make her Vio. She still moves. It's really insane. So yeah, Laura gets a straight up 100 for me. Is that the last one? No, then we still have Nikki. Nikki, pretty strong, but Nikki also somewhat weaker than Laura. Well, everything is weaker than Laura. Holy shit, win rate of Nikki, though. Win rate of Nikki is 56.50 on the win rate in G3 on 13% pick rate. That is insanely high. On G1, it's 52.80. So it does show that it is very strong with good artifacts. Like, the main thing between G1 and G3 is good artifacts. Everyone in G1 is just like, I want quad speeds. Everyone in G3 is like, I got good artifacts. Her damage actually nuts. Very true. Plus her healing. AoE heal. Full cleanse. Full heal pretty much. Really insane. So, that kind of stuff. Let's see what we have for her. Is she the highest win rate if we actually boost up the win or the pick rates to 2%? She's not the highest out there. Actually, some interesting units out there. But then again, like 500 matches is not that much. Like the G3 is somewhat misleading as well. But she's highest, or like she's top 5 win rate in both the quadrants for G1 and G3. So that's definitely a unit to be feared. And does Nikki for that reason get a 95? I would at least say a 92.5. I actually just want to put her at 95. I think she's 95 for me. She's that versatile. She has that annoying stuff with like cycling as one, that kind of stuff. She's definitely better than the units on the 92.5. Yeah, absolutely. So she gets a 95. Maybe there's going to be an in-betweener tier in here, but she's... Yeah, I already know what's the in-betweener tier going to be. But yeah, she's a 95 for me. She's really strong in G3. And G1, still pretty strong as well, so that definitely gives her high value for that. Then we have a bunch of Hell Ladies. I do actually see Beth being used here and there for cleaver units, which is somewhat at the place that you could also pick up a Taylor, but then people like to pick up Beth. I think it's used quite a bit less, but you do see some people use it. Okay, G1, it's 1.19 on the pick and 53 on the win. And then in G3, it actually goes quite a bit lower and it's never picked. So I would say it's a Taylor, but worse. So it also gets the rank of Taylor, but worse. So she gets a 70 from me. I don't really like Beth too much. Like, might as well just pick up a Taylor. I think it would do better in the long run, and you're less likely that you really need that S3 to land everything, push back everything. Like, sure, the cleanse block is kind of nice, but it's not that crazy. Rocky, which is getting somewhat of a common counter against Julian. But how good is she at it? In G1, she is close to 50% on the win rate. Pick rate is kind of low. In G3, she is above 1% pick rate, but win rate still not that high. Actually, if she's let in the match, she has lower win rate by 3%. That's pretty funny. How about this one? Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, she's so often banned. Yeah, her ban rate is 45. So people are like, oh, fuck, I fear her. That's going to be bad. She's going to kill me. Like, win rates are, like, close to 50. But she doesn't even properly counter that shit. Yeah, people overestimate the damage. I guess so. I think it's not a bad unit. I think it's a little bit better than a Beth because it's more of that fear in the draft. Fear in the draft definitely has value for me. People overestimate her damage. Yeah, her damage is not as high. I do think she counters fire casts. I think she ignores that, but I'm not 100% sure about that. Does she? I don't know. I would say so. She does? Yeah, I did guess so. Then we have Athena, which I guess is one of the most used wind units out there right now. In G3, however, kind of overspammed because the win rate shows a 46.5% win rate. Pick rate is 14.5. Is about same in or out of the match. How about G1? G1, people have a little bit more struggle in counting her, but 48.50, still not that crazy high. Interesting. I felt Athena was kind of strong in current meta. Like, she's at least an 80 for me. Maybe even higher than 80. No, she's 85 for me. Doesn't really represent in the win rates. But I do feel like she's a very strong unit. Very versatile. Can do a lot of stuff. You have that S2 cycling at the start. If there's a few things not will, it's just deadly. Surface of Sonya. Yeah, she's a slightly bit less good because of Sonya. That's definitely true. Like, Sonya kind of fucks her up. Moving on to Asima. Asima is one of those units, strong 5th pick, and most likely is going to be at the strong 5th pick tier. We have a 51.75 win rate in G1, about 51 in G3. Win rate definitely does go up in the 44, high ban rates, so that is one of those units. Once again, we're going to place at the counter. Is she better than a Rika in current state, though? I feel like Rikas in general are harder to kill than Asimas. I feel like she's one better. Yeah, she's definitely better. 77.5. She's better than that. So, moving on. Next to, we had all of the Hell Ladies. Yes, sir. Oh, no, wait. We missed Kraka. Sorry, Kraka. Kraka's, I would say, somewhat underrated. Might be decent at certain matches. Might also be pretty bad. A lot of people actually say Kraka is like an Athena without an S3 and no base speed. That is a way to say it, but that heal sometimes, or that revive can be annoying. But in G3 it's like 44.5% win rate. In G1 it's a little bit better with like close to 50. And yeah, probably not that great of a unit. It's not bad, but it's not great. I would give it a 65. 65 a bit rough. Well, we're looking at G3 mainly though. Like for G1 it's a little bit higher, but I'll give it a... No, I think give you more usability than those two units. I'll give you a 70. Like, I kind of like the unit to a certain extent. Kraka shit without an LD5 comp. Yeah, that's kind of true as well. But I still feel that because she can strip on the S2, which is better than the Athna, I feel like she has some usability. So I would give it a 70. But I think you're kind of right on the point where she does need like the good units around her that most likely die before her. You'd be able to revive that kind of stuff. First off, Rigel. No one uses that shit. Nice, don't have to place that in. Epic. Antares we have placed all over the place on the tier list. Antares currently on close to a 50% win rate, often banned. If he's actually in the match, he's lower on the win rate, funny enough. In G1, he's weaker. Wait, he's harder countering G3s than G1s. I would say that G3 people maybe have better Antares in general because better artifacts, better runes. Antares is still one of those counter units that... Is he stronger currently or is he worse? I feel like Antares, there's a lot of drafts these days where Antares is pretty strong actually. But pick rates aren't that high on Antares right now. No, I'm gonna make him 75. Yeah, I guess so. That people in G3, they know when to pick him, whereas in G1 he might be more spammed. It's like, oh, I'm losing in speed. Antares. Let's just see what happens. Going on with some Dragon Knights. Going in with Chow, and Chow was buff, but Chow is still shit. Chow is one of those units like, I expect Chow to solo shit, and then Chow doesn't solo shite. Well, Chow win rate did actually go up. It was about 40% before. It's 46.41 right now, close to 2% on the pick rate. Is better in the match than outside of the match, okay? And it's about same win rates for G1. Yeah, Chow is also kind of like as good as you invest runes to him. That's kind of a thing for Chow. I feel like there's better options than a Chow. You have the Minotaur right now that's pretty strong. You just have like other units. Like if you need water damage, there's other units out there that could be like, okay, this is your thing to go for. Leica. Leica's more unique because it's hard to kill and there's certain drafts that can never kill a Leica. But I think in G3 is also probably higher on the win rate. It's actually lower on the win rate. Interesting. Well, in the match, he's higher on the win rate. But yeah, Leica's one of those units. I use him once in 1,000 matches, but he's 46 on the win rate in G1 and he's 44 on the win rate in G3. But yeah, as mentioned, 1 in 1,000 matches, and in one of those 1 in 1,000 matches, he's actually very good. I'm actually gonna put both of you like one down because Chow you're not really gonna use. Leica is also like it's mainly like a Leo counter. Like if someone plays Leo Ragdoll and the like Leo Ragdoll Shizuka Racuni, put a Leica, you're gonna win. Something like that. But is it that often used? Not as much. So 65 for Chow and 65 for the Leica. One downing that unit at the spots. Leo, however. What's the win rate on Leo? Leo in G3 is actually 20% pick. That is a lot of picks. Ban rate incredibly high. Win rate is 49.21. You do see a lot more Leos because people that have FIFA shells also tend to spam Leos right now. It's no longer that you need like a Ragdoll Leo to make Leo common. But there's a lot of like more commonly spammed Leos out there right now. Plus Leo is very strong, of course, because of Sonya. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Like there's a lot of stuff right now that you just say like, okay, he has too much speed, units with speed damage. You got Yan Honks in there, you got Sonya's in there. I think mainly Sonya is what really drives Leo into being used a lot. And that also puts Leo at 85 for me. Would I even put Leo 90 in current state? Well, Leo can become spammable if you put the right draft around him. And his win rate and... Wait, let me see what the pick rate... Yeah, Leo is pretty much like the 7th most picked unit. That's pretty high up. That's definitely high up. Win rate is similar to reflecting to Juno right now. How about this one? This one, pick rate is quite a bit lower. Win rate is a bit lower as well. We got ACOG with the Raider of 85. Appreciate it. I think I'm actually going to put Leo at 90. I think ACOG would agree. Well, wait, ACOG, you're not that much of a Leo hater these days anymore, right? You're not the Tablo Jemire spammer anymore. Well, I would say Leo in current state is pretty strong because Sonya is that strong. And congratulations, ACOG. Happy birthday. Going on to the favorite unit of Mr. Scribble Bible himself. Where is that Jaeger? Lang, we're going by order of whatever I see, so. Jaeger is actually 48.44 on the win rates. Is below 1% pick rate in G3. On G1 is actually... Jaeger is actually kind of interestingly decent on win rate. Finally pulled Changpong. Congrats. Wow, I'm actually somewhat impressed by Jaeger's win rate. I was like, oh, Jaeger is still meme, but Jaeger is actually not that bad. He's bad, but he's not that bad. So I'm impressed by not being that bad. I haven't fought a single Jaeger since though, but just I'm kind of placing him just by win rates. I feel like he's still pretty shit. He still got 65. But I kind of expected to put him somewhere here, but I guess he has decent win rate-ish. He's still bad, but I was expecting a lot worse. Oh yeah, I think also people probably don't really know how to play against Jaeger right now because I have that little experience against the Jaeger right now. I will probably mess up the first 2 matches and then be like, okay, that's the way how it's supposed to counter it. Looking at Ragdoll, Ragdoll is one of those units that everyone right now is like, or every Ragdoll owner right now is like, Ragdoll is so bad. I don't want to pick Ragdoll. He is shit. And I would feel like that, sure, if you want to go full turn 2, I place Ragdoll in the draft all the time. He's probably bad. But as a 5th pick, it is definitely strong. Is Rag Arda still a thing? No, not really. But it's more that Arda's not a thing than that Rag is not a thing. Ragdoll's definitely still strong. I would say that probably in G3 he is lower on win rate. Yeah, that does resemble as well. I totally did expect that. Because the Ragdoll is one of those units, you don't need crazy good rune quality to it, and he already does his thing because it's a passive unit. And in general, passive units do shine better in lower ranks than higher ranks. So I definitely don't think that Ragdoll would be undervalued, or shouldn't be undervalued. But he's not as crazy as before. Like, he's nowhere near like the absolute crazy tier, but I would still say Ragdoll's 80 for me. And the thing is with Ragdoll is... Ragdoll as a 5th pick, even if you go like full AoE CC kind of draft and you see like, oh, the enemy's outspeeding me with an Ethna and something else. If you drop that Ragdoll in the 5th slot, he probably has to ban that Ragdoll or he cannot go for a Shatter at the start. Like, Ragdoll can really determine, like, okay, what can or can't they do in certain drafts. He's definitely not spammable. Well, he is actually spammable in lower ranks if you really put a team around him. But in higher ranks, I would say, like, just more flex picks, like late pivot picks and that kind of stuff. And then he becomes very good as a passive unit that way. Because if he boosts up your 3 other units that can AoE strip and then CC if they overtake the turn after he took the turn, it's just incredibly strong. Until they fully don't crit. Haha. Let's see monkeys. Monkey business with the it's Shiho first. Shiho. Decent win rate. Wow. Decent to good win rate. 53 on the win rate. 1% on the pick, which is not that much. Win rate is 50 in G1. Pick rate is just low. I feel like he's okay to good, but he's not crazy good. I think I'm just going to put him at 77.5. I'm not really going to give him more. Like, the win rate does show pretty high numbers, but the pick rate is that low that you don't really see him that much. That's... I would even... I'm going to put him here. I'll put him at 75. Like, I don't even feel like he's better than these tiers. Yeah, it's probably just mainly Obabo. And even G3 is very clouded right now too. Like, 180 matches. Like, if there's 50 of Obabo there, like, this barely counts. So yeah, I'm going to put Monkey at 70. He's not bad, but he's not crazy good as well. A unit that is spammed a lot, however, and might be one of the most used elemental units out there, Meowang. Meowang, win rate is actually 46.69 in the G3. Pick rate, 14%. In G1, it's close to 50, and then pick rate is 18.2. Definitely used a lot, definitely a very strong unit, and definitely for me, it feels the same as Camilla. Like, it's a very solid unit. I think it's slightly overspammed, but it's definitely a unit with a lot of damage, has the potential to completely fuck up whole teams. Absolutely a strong unit right now, so Meowang gets an 80 for me. Then we have the the Wind Monkey, which was buffed, where he gets attack bar while he's being stunned and then being hit or some weird shit. Is picked a bit more, 3% in G1, but 46 on the pick or 46 on the win rate. 47 on the win rate in G3. Not that high. I think the monkey, or the wind monkey, is not bad, but I think I'm just gonna give it a 75. I feel like people have to put better runes to it to actually make it work or anything. So, yeah, it feels decent, but it doesn't feel good enough. Light Monkey, however, Light Monkey is definitely a very strong unit, and if not the highest in win. Holy shit, jeepus! Okay, in G1 is it lower win rate? Yeah, wow, this is actually interesting, because Light Monkey is relatively an easier unit to pick and to... Well, maybe the setup for him is something that G3 players can better play around than G1 players, and... Jesus, Monkey has 60% win rate if he's in the match in G3. That is really insane. Wait, let me reset this and then see what's the highest win rate unit of any unit in the 4v4 win rate. He has the highest win rate unit with a high pick. Damn. Okay, Light Monkey good. Light Monkey definitely back into meta. Light Monkey definitely a 95 for me. Wouldn't say it's higher than 95 because I feel like it's not as spammable. But yeah, I would say so. I would definitely say so. No way Wind Monkey is same tier as Water Monkey. Water Monkey can solo teams if you're lucky and you proc at the right moment. Okay, maybe one down for this one. I agree. But yeah, Light Monkey is 95 for me. Wow, damn, that unit is really strong. Absolutely strong unit right there. Because the pick rate is still pretty decent. Like 7% pick rate is definitely not nothing. And in here, it's a bit less in here, but still decent. Pretty decent. Sean's still stronger than Light Monkey. They are hard to compare. Uh-oh, we got a Dark Monkey. Dark Monkey claimed by Jubago as 5 times S tier because he now lands his stuff. I'm like, bro, how do you mean he lands his stuff right now? He didn't even get buffed on the activation rates. But for some reason we have the Monkey in G1, 47% win rate, below 1% pick rate. Not surprised, not surprised. G3, oh, some people actually use it, but 41 picks, and then he actually has some win rate in here, but no one uses the shit. No one wants to use this shit. It is still ridiculously bad. You shouldn't be using this shit. You can use him here and there, but I wouldn't recommend it. He gets a 60 for me. That's about it. That's the best I can do. Maybe 55? Nah, 60. Yes! Well, the biggest issue he has is... there's no damage to it. Like, the S3 is scaling from HP and attack, S2 is scaling from attack, S1 is scaling from attack, and his base attack is 600. Bro, what the fuck? That's fine. That's a fucking net 3 has 600 attack. What if her better? Yeah, I'm actually gonna make it 55. Fuck that monkey. Fran. Where is Fran these days? Fran is, let's go back to G1. Fran is 47 on the win rate. Okay, 0.22 on the pick. Not picked enough. G3, also not picked enough. Okay, Fran is not being used in this. How about Miyang? I think Miyang is something that some people might pick up, especially since the pure vanilla cookie is pretty strong right now. But apparently not. 3 picks in G3 and 2 little picks in G1, not picked enough. We don't have to place it in. So we're not going to. Then we go in with a next unit that is a Yanhong. Where the hell damn Yanhong? Over here. Yanhong is 8% pick rate on G1 with 50 on the win rate. Decent amount of band rate, but doesn't change the win rate. In G3, yeah, definitely one of those units that shines with better runes, better artifacts. 53.5 in the match, and then on 11. That's actually pretty high on the win rate for that unit as well. So, yeah, and since it's pretty high on the speed meta, I would say, are you that high that I would value you on this tier? You're absolutely 92.5, but I'm somewhat thinking about 95 as well. Well, nah, she's 92.5 for me because she still has that issue with the S2. Like, the S2 being inconsistent is just one of those things that I'm like, nah. Yeah, no, 92.5. Which is definitely very strong and very high. Next up, a Wuyong. Is that actually something that people use these days? Maybe in cleaves. Stop cleaving in G3. Because in G3 you get 45% win rate on this unit, which is not really high. Pick rate is 2.5. G1 it's 4.8. Yeah, not really like you could use it and build a cleave around it, but yeah, to be honest, don't. Like, I'm pretty sure if we check Conqueror ranks, in Conqueror ranks she's way above 50. Just 50. Yeah, okay, not even there. It's nice. Maxi Wuyong Cleave, yeah, for that reason it would be nice, but anything else is kind of like, nah. Going on with some Pioneers. So, a Pioneer that is water, that is Wusa. Pick rate in 70% pick rate, win rate or close to 51. Over 51 in the 4v4. About 50 in the G3 quadrant. Still 15 on the pick. So Wusa overall, solid units. Can't really go wrong with the Wusa, but it's also not really one of the... It's one of those like late picks most of the time. It's not really like a spam pick that much, but does show good win rate most of the time where it is used. So for that reason, I kind of still put it online with these other units that are in 80 with the Camilla and that kind of stuff. So definitely solid unit out there. Still has good damage on that STO even though it was nerfed. Chiwu. We do tend to see a bit more Chiwus because of the speed meta and that kind of stuff. Pick rate in G3 is 15.5. That's definitely very high. Win rate 48. Ban rate pretty much up there as well. In G1 about the same. A little bit lower on the pick rate but win rate still 48. I would also say Chiwu is also fitting 80 rank for me. Definitely a solid unit out there. But not something that is the greatest. Then we have Wunsa. And Wunsa is always somewhat weird for me to rate. Like, it's one of those things that it's easy to put a lot of speed to, but you also have to put a lot of speed to actually make it work. And is he really worth it? Because there's so many freaking units that also need that amount of speed, right? So win rate is actually pretty high up there. It's 51.5. That's definitely not bad in G1. G3 is probably lower. Yep. Yeah, in G3 people just have too many fast units that you don't really want to put that to Wunsa. So Wunsa is, I would say, kind of the same thing. It's one of those fears in the draft that's like a good late pick. That's definitely still there. Is Wunsa better than Gianna? I kind of feel I'm the same way, actually. Like, I feel Chiwu is way more pickable than a Wunsa, and for that reason, I wouldn't really... If I had a Wunsa, I would put runes to him, but in all honesty, I would almost rather have a Triton than a Wunsa in a lot of drafts. Like, unless you're playing, like, against Triple Revenge Verd or that kind of, like, a bunch of fire units, then Wunsa is better, but in a lot of other cases, I would rather have a Triton than a Wunsa. Yeah, I like Lima better for like the cleanse and the better chance of stripping. You can actually use Lima as like a single unit that strips, whereas Pra as a single unit that strips might be a little bit iffy. Next up are the Ifrits. Please don't trash talk. I trash talk whatever the fuck I want. First up is Desarion. Desarion always has like a hard job trying to counter shit that he isn't good enough for countering, which are like all of the passive LD5s most of the time. 46.5 on the win rates in G3, a little bit higher on the G1. It's never a bad unit, but he just hard struggles playing against those hard to counter units. So he gets a 77.5 for me. I feel like he's weaker than a Meo Wang in current state. He's still strong, he's definitely up there, but he's weaker. He needs Irresistible Oblivion. That would make him very nice. I think if you make Irresistible Oblivion, Desarion becomes like 85 for me. El Sharian, I think it's one of those units that people don't really use until they start cleaving with like a Rogue and a Dusky and a Tablo and all of the kind of weird stuff. but they are just having fun with it rather than actually playing good with it or something like that. If you have good with depth, it's there, but less than 1% pick rate, so don't have to place in. Veromos, however, the most free-to-play unit in the game, and is actually very strong in G3. It's a super hard counter against a whole bunch of LDs, aka Nefties, Kiki. Well, Kiki's not used that much, but Nefties, just a whole bunch of LDs, debuffs, everything. Biggest issue for Veromos is like the moment he's stunned, he doesn't cycle. But yeah, Veromos is definitely a strong unit. Funny enough, if he's in the match, he's slightly lower on the win rate than outside of the match, so he is more the fear of the draft than being as good in the match. But 5% pick rate and 51 on the win rate is definitely strong for Veromos, and that does make Veromos get me a 77.5. No, I actually feel like Veromos is an 80. Like, the thing is that he is that much of a must ban in the late pick phase that he becomes pretty good and he becomes pretty annoying. I would say that if he doesn't, if he wouldn't care about getting stunned and then still does the cycling for getting attack bar, he would be all the way up here. Like, he would actually be really annoying to deal with. Because then the only thing you can deal with him with is just attack bar pushbacks, and that's it. Is he worth the 80? Nah, compared to Camilla, no, I'm gonna one down him. I don't know. Yeah, since you can't use him that much, but when you use him, he's good. Yeah, let's just say 77.5. I think it's kind of there. Then he's nearly uncounterable. Yeah, like stuns are pretty important against him. But because of that stun thing that you can stun him, that you can push him back, I would say 77.5. But he's definitely strong. We're going for some Polar Queens. I haven't fought Diana in ages, but that might also be the way that I draft. I think Diana needs very specific teams to be good. In G1, still 51.3 on the win rate. In G3, quite a bit less on 46 win rate. Yeah, Tiana is one of those units. Like, it's just pretty much good if you have like a Nefties team. Like, if you build the full Nefties team around it, it's kind of good. It can be there as a counter pick. It can be nice, but you actually have to build a full team around it and invest very good Swift runes into a unit that's base speed that is pretty much non-existing. So, yeah, 75. By best, I would say. No, I'm gonna lower it. Fuck it. 70. 70 for Tiana. I actually tried the Nefties third Tiana comp, and I was not even that impressed. Like, it kind of works until people figure it out, that they can just Sonya you, they can just 33 speed lead, outspeed you with any base speed unit pretty much. Yeah, it's actually not that great. Then we go for the Polar Queen that has an ice cube on her head. Well, all of them kind of have like an ice cone on their head in the base form. But in this case, the one that cycles a lot of turns, which of course I can't find once again. She's over there. Whoa, Scribble, are you inting? Why does the Light Polar Queen have 43% win rate? How about in G1? G1 quite a bit hard. Scribble, you're inting. I think the unit's actually pretty good, but it's just a late pick, and in late pick she is good, but I don't know. Pharaoh effect? I guess. I feel like she does still counter things like Veromos because of she's often stunning. She still counters Douglas's because she has the attack break and that kind of stuff. I feel like she's still decent, but maybe she doesn't fit that many teams. So 77.5 for the Light Polar Queen. Even though that the G3 ranking is like 42. G1 is 52. I expected like 47, 48. She's high. Yeah, I kind of gave her 80. Like, I'm going to say on this one, I'm going to say fuck the whatever win rate she has. I'm going to put her higher. I think she's better. Lydia, I don't have to place. That unit is absolutely zoggy shit. But what we do have to place is a Tetra, which is the only mermaid that's placed these days, I think. Because Molly is most likely not used. In G1, it's 0.82 on the pick, which is not that much. It's not even enough. G3, it is enough, but holy shite. Is this the lowest win rate unit in G3? No, Destiny is the lowest win rate unit in G3. Wow. Wait, the Polar Queen was the, was the third. I feel like her in a good draft is still pretty good. No. For me, like, she is a strong 5th pick. Like, certain matches with... Well, I don't draft as much anymore. I'm not entirely sure why not, but I still feel like her in a good last pick position is very strong. Narsha that low as well. Where the hell do you see Narsha? It's not even in there. We're not that far, bro. Don't skip turns. Yeah, people will like push back and that kind of stuff. True. How about Molly? Well, I'm pretty sure if Tetra hasn't even used Molly, it's for sure not used. Nope. Oh, Jesus, the win rate. 41. Don't use that unit. Holy shit. Okay, we go into some Sea Emperors. And we have a Pantas first. Where the hell did Pantas it? Pantas. Well, searching units on this thing is always so hard. I can't find. No, Pantas. Don't tell me it's all the way at the bottom, right? Nope. Nearly at the bottom. Okay, for G1, it's 0.66 on the pick rate, 50 on the win rate. G3, non-existing. And it's... Well, I still want to place it, even though it's below the rate that I have to place it. But it's like a Theor, but like 2 turns down. That's just kind of the thing. Like, he's not that great. Oh, Narsha was on the lowest win rate. Ah, yeah, true. True. Narsha's probably a difficult unit to fit in Grand Meta, because you have that many Leos in there, and Sonya and stuff is just better, I guess. Let's go for Fire. Okeanos. I do see some people draft Okeanos again. I have no clue why. I did see Big V used in SWC. I think Lest used it in SWC or Truewill, one of those two. But it's not really used, and I wouldn't really recommend to use it. Like, okay, that win rate is not really representing anything because there's no pick rate. Let's go for this. You got alt, and I'm sad. Or wait, you got Han, and you got it on the alt. Rip. Yeah, that's not a fun unit on an alt. There's a bunch of LD5s that I wouldn't mind on the alt, but there's a whole bunch of LD5s I would be like, I don't want this on the alt. Triton. I do see more Triton getting in play these days. Actually, on win rate, Triton 52, or close to 52, like 51.77. 3% pick rate is not bad. If he's in the 4-4, so definitely like a danger in the draft. That's definitely what we can see from those win rates, because win rate does drop when he actually goes into the match. Not a bad unit per se, but I would say probably same level as Wunsa. 77.5 for me. Why do you play alt? Yeah, well, I play alt for content. That's something. And then we have the Pandas. Where the hell then Pandas is? Pandas is always one of those annoying units. And I'm pretty sure in G3, Pandas is hella boosted by Jinyo. Because he used a lot of Pandas. Of course, I can't find no Pandas. Probably already skipped over it. Yeah, if these things were actually selected by how much they were picked, it would be a lot easier for me. Oh, here. 53 win rate on G1, 53.5 even. Is stronger in the match than outside of the match. Okay, interesting, dangerous. In G3, 52.5 and stays about the same. Pick rates aren't that high, but that definitely does show that Pandas is pretty high on win rate. Is Pandas currently stronger than Lima, though? I definitely would say 80 is fitting for him. But I would say same tier as Lima. It kind of does the same thing as Lima, but also kind of doesn't. But I would say 85 for Pandas. I think that's fair. Because the speed lead is so different, the S2 silence is different. Better? Well, would we put Pandas on 90 though? That is... I think that might be a little bit too high for Pandas. We got Sun SW with the tier 1er. Appreciate it. 85.5. Lima feels too high. Yeah, it might be that Lima is too high. Would I one down Lima? I'm actually feeling more for one downing Lima. She's kind of on similar level as Braha though. Yeah, I think because of me seeing Pontus here, made me rethink. I'm gonna put Lima 1 down. Like, Lima's not bad, but Lima's actually kind of similar as that. Yeah, and like Ragdoll, yeah, I would say so. Pontus gets the 85 buff, and Lima gets 1 down to 80. Then we go into some. What are those? What are those? Desert Queen. Desert Queens. Oh no, those come later. We have Desert Queens and Desert Queens. They're not called Desert Queens. They should be called Desert Queens. What's that? Those 2 picks in G3. In G1, it's actually used. Nah, if you're 2 picks in G3, I don't even want to play. Okay, I'm gonna place you. Don't leave. Sekhmet though, or also called Sukhmet. Unit I used a lot. A unit that can suck a lot. So Braxis, how are you doing? But yeah, Sekhmet, I feel like she is very strong. Does she go up in win rate? No, she kind of goes down in win rate in the match. I feel like she's overspammed as well. I definitely do think Sekhmet is very strong. Sekhmet gets 85 for me. Because, yeah, she has to land. Yeah, she doesn't land. But if it's on the enemy side, right? We're looking at enemy side Sekhmet. We're not biased. Oh, she's over there. She lands all the time. No, just kidding. I feel like Sekhmet is a strong 85. Like, you still see her that much play in tournaments and everything. That's, yeah, it is that chance that you miss, but it's also like a big chance that you instantly win. Plus, she can do a lot of damage. We've seen the Sekhmet of less. That thing did a lot of damage. The meme of your Yasuo against enemy Yasuo, exactly. I feel like she's 1 down from Ethna. Nah, Ethna win rate is actually kind of garbage similar. Like for win rates and pick rates, they're actually similar on par. So I kind of feel that also resembles like... I think Sekhmet is even more used than Ethna. Wait, let me check. Ethna was pretty... Yeah, Ethna is like a lower win rate, but Sekhmet is picked close to like 1.5 times as much, so Sekhmet is definitely up there. Yeah, I know that Sam is boosting the rate of Sienna, but he's also maybe doing that with a Maximilian, a Nephthys, and a Tier Lang. So it might be those units, I don't know. Then we have a Hathor. Hathor is going to be on the list because I just checked this. Apparently the win rate on Hathor is high. Decently high. In G3 it's 50%, 3% pick rate. In G1 it's 53.5 on 2.5% pick rate. I'm gonna put Hathor in here because I don't want to play against it. Because it's just boring. I'm doing pretty good, Rex. But no, she's decent if you put like a right comp around her, but I feel like because of the Sonya being there right now, sure you can build her counter Sonya, but then you have to make your Wusa counter Sonya and that kind of shit as well. When Sonya will always lap your units, so the whole Genny, Hathor, Wusa comp becomes weaker because Sonya's again a counter to it, but you also have the Meo Wang being a strong counter to it. Like, these Hathor players are actually somewhat bound to like a Domon to actually counter those things that get a lot of turns fast. And then Domon actually has to land as well, so yeah. There's 0 Siennas in the Guardian without LD draft, very true. But yeah, Hathor gets a 70 for me, even though that the win rate resembles a lot more. Yeah, it's just... No, you don't get it from me. We have seen your meta. It was boring. Get out of here. Get out of here. Then we go on to... Oh, we still have a bunch more Desert Queens. Isis. I'm pretty sure Isis is not used enough. Isis should be having a buff that she guarantees land either one of the 2 things. Or she just guaranteed lands Oblivion and then the silence becomes 50% or some stupid shit like that. Topafi evolved from Genny Hathor to Ragdoll now. Yeah, that's so much better. Okay, I can't even find her, but I'm so sure that she wouldn't... Oh, she's over here. Oh, wow, she actually has 1.16% pick rate? Okay, then I actually have to place her in. 47 on the window. It's not that high. I feel like she's kind of here. She has too much issues with landing shit. Like, if she just guaranteed landed Oblivion, she becomes very good. Like, even take away the fucking silence and guaranteed land Oblivion, she gets you. Like, fuck that shit of like, I am sometimes landing my bullshit. Fuck that unit. Like, guaranteed Oblivion would be very strong in current meta. But now she's just shite. Let's go into a Neftis. Let's say guaranteed Oblivion if your resistance is higher than the enemy. And then you have to go 100 resistance on Isis. And anyone else that's also 100 resistance, it doesn't work on. Fucking 5-head, right? So something weird like that. I don't know. Think about something. Let's add in the Neftis. Neftis is 17 pick rate, 51 on the win. 51 point high, 51.8 actually in G1. In G3, we're lower on the win rate because Neftis is one of those units that shines better when rune quality of other people aren't as great. 50% win rate in G3. Neftis is definitely strong, but is it incredibly strong? No, she doesn't fit that one. Neftis is strong, but is it that strong? I think Neftis is also very strong with specific LDs. Like, Neftis is a very strong pair with a Yan Hong. Neftis is a very strong pair with a Laura. Neftis is a very strong pair with Tian Lang. Like, those kind of pairs are incredibly strong. Without that, how strong is a Neftis? It's strong, but is it crazy strong? Meh, I don't know. Veronica, yes. Yana, doesn't matter. That one doesn't matter. Now, do I feel like that she's even this? Or do I do her dirty this way? No, I think I kind of do her dirty. She's still good. Like, I have to keep in mind also, like, if you have all the other good LDs to make it work, she becomes here or here. If you don't have it, she's probably here, so I'm gonna average it out. Like, personally, for me, because I don't have the good pair of LDs with her in this meta, like, before Gianna was a good pair, but currently it's not that crazy of a pair. It's more of like an 85 for me, personally. But since other people have the good pairs, she definitely is, like, higher, so I put her in 90. I think that's fair. I feel like Neftis is slightly below Tianlang, Laura, Nikki. For me, not really. I think in G1, yes. In G1, she definitely shows like a higher win rate. But in G3, there's so many counters to it. Like, Hey Gang pretty much insta counters it. Sonya's in still a lot of cases. Like, sure, you can build counter Sonya, but then this thing is doing absolutely no damage. Just the Juno, Veramol's pretty strong right now, so I'm gonna give her 90. Wedjat. The unit that is pretty hard nerfed from being the most first picked unit in the game to being picked sometimes. Not that bad. Not that bad. We go 51 on the win rate, or close to 51 in G1. In G3, it's still 51.5. Pick rate is still pretty decent. 17.5 on the pick rate. I would definitely say that that still is a decent pick rate. Wait, why the hell did that switch with you? I would still say that Wedjat is 85. Would I give Wedjat a 90? That is the big question. Personally, I don't really struggle with Wedjats anymore or at all. Well, even in the Wedjat meta, I didn't really struggle that much with Wedjats. Currently, even less. I would say 85 is fair. But would we say 90? I don't think so. Like, any Wedjat owners here, he can even be 80. Nah, he's definitely 85. I would say 85 for Wedjat. I think that's fair. Amduat. I'm not sure if people really use that. I tried Amduat as a stripper. Amduat is not a stripper. Amduat strips 0 out of 4 all the time. That is Amduat. He's not bad in certain drafts. He's over 1% pick rate, but he's 46 on win rate. So Amduat gets one of those, like, you tried awards. Like, you tried 65. I think Amduat is definitely pretty strong in, what's it called? Is pretty strong in Special League. But that is also because there's a lot of cleavers without will in Special League. And you have that less in normal RTA. Then we go into some very key queens, kings, fairy kings. Whatever they're called. Pesoma. Where the hell is the unit at? Man, finding some of these units is a pain in the butthole. Pretty sure I skipped it like 3 times already. How was that not inside? How was that not inside? Okay, so Samath has close to 50% win rate, which is actually pretty decent. 3.5% on pick rate in G3. In G1 it's a little bit lower. It's not bad actually. Wow, did not expect Samath to be that high on win rates. Like, I don't classify it as like a very strong unit per se, but he's not bad. I gave Samath a 75. I feel like it's also kind of fitting like the rest of the 75s with being like the good counter pick, and that's about it. What's your opinion about Dark Bayek? That we will get there in about 45 minutes. That's my opinion about Bayek. We go into Daphnis. Daphnis is one of those units that isn't really used that much anymore. Some people still kind of use it as like the Nem trap. But then again, there's better Nem traps as in Fire Cassandra. But it's about 1% pick rate. But I gave Daphnis a 65. I've never liked Daphnis in the first place. And I'm probably never really going to like Daphnis. So he gets a 65 from me. He's kind of there. He kind of does his thing. But he's also kind of like, yeah. Ganymede, definitely a strong unit. I would absolutely pick up a Ganymede if I had a Laura. I'm not sure if, well, Laura has that low of cooldown, so it probably doesn't matter as much. But I feel like a fast Laura and a fast Ganymede together is very nasty. Win rate's 49, pretty much for both in and out of the match in G3. Guardian is actually a lot higher on the win rate. Wow. 52.5 win rate on Guardian. Damn, we're now at 52.34. That's a high one. And we got a primer from Roslyn. Appreciate it. But, wow. Ganymede in G1 is pretty strong. And the other one, not as much. I would give it a 75. Or do we go a little bit up from 75? I don't use it as much, but I feel like, personally, I feel like he's stronger, but I'm gonna give him 77.5. I still feel like Ganymede is very strong. But then again, Ganymede is also somewhat elevated by having good LDs next to it. Like Ganymede Yeonhong, super strong. Ganymede Laura, super strong. So, yeah, he's somewhat like LD elevated. Overall, the unit that finally got his buff to get crit rate awakening and then gets hell outshined by another unit doing the same thing, but then can't die at 0 HP. Rip. But yeah, overall, also hard nerf because of Shizuka nerf. Interestingly enough, dropping like from 50% to below 2.5% less if he's in the match in G3. In G1, he's still a bit higher. I guess you can use Oberon. It's probably not that bad, but I give him 70. Like, Shizuka nerf hit him hard. That's the main thing. Nyx. Pretty sure that's not used in RTA. How come Julian's so high? Because Julian kills shit and then doesn't die. And then be fucking annoying and shit. Nyx bottom left. Yeah, no one uses this shit in RTA. And for good reason. Oh, actually no one uses this shit in G3 RTA. Okay, from there, let's first put this little rat in there. The little rat. A little rat is 47.5 win rate. G3, actually, the rat is higher win rate. What the actual fuck? Why is the rat higher win rate in G3 than in G1? Well, that's a pretty high win rate for an 11.5 pick rate. Well, the rat is definitely good. Like, the rat is straight up 80 for me. I don't think he values higher than 80, but he's absolutely an 80. With better runes, red is broken. I feel like the red always looks the same, but it's probably the units around it that he boosts. Then going into some pandas. Some Pantatos. Molong first. Why the hell does Molong have fucking 52 win rate in G3? I did play against one guy that was actually Molong spamming, but Molong 53 win rate, 52 win rate with 4% pick rate. That's high. Do we put... I think Mo is like 77.5. It's not that much pick rate, but no, I'm actually going to pick him lower. Like, if you build a full team around Mo, he's strong. If you make him as a last pick, he's strong. But besides that, Mo is just Mo. Feng Yang. The Unfair Bear. Which is pretty true in the server battle. Unfair Bear actually has above 50% win rate as well. Close to 51 even. Pick rate ain't that high. But definitely a unit that is solid. I will give him a 75 as well. Strong last pick. Like, a lot of them on the 75 are very strong last picks. Can I pick one? Nope. I'm gonna do this by order, so for that reason, the timestamps are all mixed by the families. That makes it easy for me. Plus, I have them in correct order from previous tier lists already. Tianlang, what kind of win rate do we have? Somewhat lower than I expected. Okay, he's banned a lot. The moment he's not banned, he's close to 54 win rate in G3. Probably a little bit lower in G1. Yep. Tianlang goes straight a zoop, a little bit of a row above. This point, this, and Tianlang goes over there. He's not as strong as Laura. He is definitely very strong. But yeah, Tianlang is absolutely a force to be reckoned with. We love the in-between the tiers, absolutely. But yeah, he's not as strong as Laura. Tianlang feels worse than Laura. It really depends on what you draft. Like, that is the thing why some people say Tianlang is worse, some people say Laura is worse. It depends on what you draft. But if we look purely at the numbers, the win rate of Tianlang, like the pick rate of Tianlang is half the pick rate of Laura, and the win rate of Tianlang is a lot lower. Okay, in G3 probably not. The pick rate of Tianlang is pretty much as high as... Okay, they nearly have the same thing, but if Laura has higher pick rate, and higher first pick rate, and an insane higher win rate. So, I have to put Laura higher than that, I feel like. Sure, Tianlang is pretty busted as well, but the speed buff, that is nasty. Then we go for Miying. The Unfair Bear, the unwanted Unfair Bear, I guess. Still a good unit. They're good together. Very true. Are we over 1% pick rate? On neither. I still feel like you're a decent bruiser that can be picked here and there. You get a 74. You get that. Oh wait, I actually put the light pony. I was like, oh, I didn't put the light pony in here. Wait, I did put the light pony in here. We actually see some Triana being picked up. I'm actually going to place Triana as well, because I definitely do think that people pick up Triana as counter to Sonia's. But how often does that happen? Not that much pickup, but the win rate on it is pretty decent. Wow, if it's actually... The ban rate is insane, and the pick rate is also pretty high. Definitely a unit that if you struggle with Sonia's, that you might pick up of thinking like, okay, I want to pick up a Triana. I'm going to give her here because she doesn't have that much play yet. So I'm not sure if it's giving that much value in your whole draft and that kind of stuff. But a Triana last pick could be good. But I'm going to give it 70 for now. Helena. I do actually see quite some more people picking up Helena as well. It does do a lot of damage. And then it's not necessarily a Leo counter Helena, but just like a speedy Helena. What the fuck is that win rate? Well, you have 128 matches. That barely counts. Win rate in this is even still high. Wow. Okay, Elena's apparently a strong 5th pick if you already AoE, CC, strip, whatever. I'm gonna put it 75. Well, that's where all of the AoE, CC picks go to, right? Good against Fire Cassandra too? True, Triana is good against Fire Cassandra. That's actually very true. Amelia is definitely not used, but Diana is. Diana doesn't see as much play as it used to. I still like a good Diana into like AoE CC that's AoE CCing all the time. So we have a 50.5 over there. Elena's a nice counter into Leo. That is also very true. In G3 it falls off a little bit, but Diana is still definitely pretty strong if it gets into the match. Still one of those units that you're like, that feels dangerous to play into. And I think, yeah, it's Once again, good counter picks, 75. That's fitting over there. We have more ponies. I actually can put my pony that I use. Yes. Like, how many usages does she have? Probably not much. I think I saw her somewhere at the bottom earlier. Because that's where she belongs. Psych. Where the hell is pony at? Over here. It's close to 1% win rate, and I'm inting with the unit, apparently. She is used here and there. Like, the biggest issue she has is, like, she needs a little bit more healing. Like, if her healing was anything good, she would actually be good. But until then, she is used. She is used. I gave her, like, a 70. It's not crazy good. Even though I had quite a decent amount of drafts where I was like, oh, this is the best spot where she fits, but still not that great. Alexandra. The most common Alexandra spammer used to be Timbo, but I think even Timbo is not using as much Alexandra anymore. Well, he also replaced it for Julian that just does like hella damage, but that makes sense. In G1 it's okayish, in G3 it's one of those units like don't use it. Yeah, maybe it doesn't work as well. She gets another 70. Ponies together. Ponies strong. Let's go into a Tablo. I don't see all too much Tablo these days. Well, it's maybe because you see more Leos, more Sonias. 1% pick rate, 47 or close to 47 on the win. In G1, probably a bit higher. Yep, because more cleavers in G1. I would say, yeah, if you go for Tablo, you can have this weird draft where Tablo, if you have all of your units move in front of Tablo and then Tablo moves after at like 260, 270, whatever the speeds of your unit. Could be nice as a late pick, but yeah, is it that great? I don't know. 70. Celia. Definitely a unit you don't see picked all too much in RTA. And for, well, yeah, it's just not picked enough. It actually has decent win rate, but it's not picked enough, so we're not going to place it in. Vivachel, which these days is picked up quite a lot, but you also see a lot of different builds of Vivachel. You see quite some Vile Vivachels, you see Swift Vivachels. Most of the time I don't really fear it too much, but Viva can be pretty annoying. Win rate is 48, pretty much, or close to 48. In the 4v4 it's a little bit above that. Not bad, 6% pick rate is quite some. G1, it's actually quite a bit high win rate. Yeah, I do see quite some more play with her. Like, before it was really like, oh, you need to Ragdoll Vivachel, you really need to Leo Vivachel for Vivachel to become good. I feel like currently that's no longer the case. I feel like Vivachel can just be used by itself. But is it crazy good? Like, personally, I don't really struggle with it. And I think the hardest struggle she has is still being, like, reset by a Sekhmet. Being sniped by a... what's it called, by Sonya, being AoE stripped and reset by an Oliver. Like, there's a lot of ways to deal with it, and therefore she just gets like a 77.5 for me. She's definitely not bad, but I feel like she's also not the greatest thing out there. I would say in G1 she's probably better than in G3. Yeah, that's also what the win rate definitely does represent. Going into some of the Paladins. Josephine, also a unit you don't see too much, probably just hard deleted by Oliver and still feeling bad about it. 46% on the win rate, pick rate 3.5 in G3. G1 we're looking at 48, a little bit higher. But yeah, definitely one of those units that I feel like it's no longer as great as it is. Like, gets a 70 for me. Like, you can use it, but most of the time, is she really worth the runes? Like, she does have that buff that you don't have to build the crit rate on her, you just got crit damage and then HP and accuracy, but still. Ophelia. Ophelia. It's not really a unit I like that much. We see this sometimes in Siege. Siege offense, I would say it's good. Siege defense, I already say it's bad. But do we see it in RTA? Most likely not. Nope. And nope. Okay, then we don't have to place that in. Leona, I feel like that's Leona, the only user of Leona was Livered. And after Livered, there was pretty much no one. And that is also somewhat the case. In G3, well, those are probably just levered matches and it's not even that high on win rate. G1, it's also below 1% win rate. But since we placed in most times, I am going to place it in again. And I'm just going to put Leona at 75. I feel like there's way too many units that can deal with Leona these days that just make her close to useless. Like, sure, she would not be able to get killed by Sonya, but pretty much everything with multi-hits... Or everything with, yeah, everything multi-hits and then add damage artifacts already kills it. Herney. Unit you see from time to time. Biggest issue for Herney is that she's water and not a light or dark element. And therefore she glances on wind, which kind of sucks. Win rate is close to 51. Pick rate is below 1. Yeah, pick rate is too low. So... don't even have to place it in, but I still want to place her, and I want to give her some credit for giving some chances, but she's not as great, I would say. Sonya needs a passive like Ifrit to gain... you mean the Dark Paladin? Yeah, Dark Paladin, yeah, getting turns for her is the big issue, and getting stunned. So yeah, if she gets more attack bar like that, would be pretty strong. I'm not sure what she exactly does in Chronicles, but I do remember in Chronicles she's pretty strong. Going on with these things. Wait, which one am I missing? Oh, I'm missing Tyrannies. That's not a one to really miss. Druids, starting off with Abellio. Where the hell is that Abellio? Since the whole order of everything is so mixed up right now, I have way more struggles this time to find my units. Abellio on G3 is close to 51 win rates, a little bit above 6% on the pick rate. Stays about the same in or out of the match. Very consistent, does the same thing in G1. Actually, in G1 in the match is higher. Very good counter cleave unit and countering a lot of units, but also doing a lot of damage if you build it right. Abellio is actually very strong, but it's more of a late pick unit that he's strong. So 77.5 for me. He is a late pick unit, but he does that very well, I would say. Like, he does that better than most of the other late picks that are in here. Abellio is definitely a strong unit that everyone should have runed up. And probably also everyone can rune up pretty strong, because it needs very different runes than most of your other units. AoE heal block on Leona. Ah, yeah, that is definitely a lot stronger, yeah. Next one, Balinus. Was buffed. I tried to use it a little bit, but didn't like it as much. Win rates aren't even that bad. I kind of give Balinus the same treatment as a lot of these late pick units. It's kind of like Elena, but I would say slightly worse. I feel like that an Elena would do better than a Balinus currently, still. Yeah, so I give that 70 for Balinus. Then we have Valantis, which a lot of people claimed that was kind of dropping out of meta because of Hey Gang, but I still feel like he's pretty strong. Like that random counters like, oh, you hit me, I attack bar increase for no reason. Win rate of this unit is very high though. I feel like Valantis is more of those late pick strippers than early pick strippers. And I definitely do think that Valantis is still very strong. So 90 by minimum. Do we want to place it higher than 90? That is the question. Is he a 92.5? I would say I give it a 90. Yeah, high 90. We don't really do a high or low 90. But I would definitely say he fits 90. But he's from the units that are in 90 the closest to 92.5. Because, well, he's still hard counted by Juno. But if you pick him as a late pick, he's quite likely a must ban. That's also what you see in G3. 53 win rate in the 4v4 going to a 55 win rate. So if he's not banned, he's fucking things up. Next, Patar, which is actually picked up quite a lot these days. Patar is pretty strong. It's quite annoying with his attack bar push-up and all of that kind of stuff. But how much is the win rate on Patar? Patar is actually just a 50 win rate. That's subtle. Not that high. In G1 higher. That does make sense. But yeah, in G1 is 53 win rate. Definitely quite a bit higher. But Patar is definitely strong. But would I say Patar 80? There's 80 too high for Patar. His pick rate isn't that high, so I don't feel he's that spammable. How about in G3? 3%? No, we're definitely going to one down him. I feel like he's pretty nice, but he's still very situational. Next up, Bolric. I also put Geldnir in there, but I don't think I have to place Geldnir. Geldnir was somewhat of a counter against Masha when Masha was super dominant, but that's no longer the case, so... That also kind of made Geldnir lose his spot. In G3, Geldnir's close to 50% win rate. That's actually pretty nice. Pick rate is just 3.5. Yeah, good counter pick. Like, if someone goes Bruisers with a lot of, like, Briley's and that kind of shit, then Bolric becomes a good pick. Yeah, he's kind of a more long level. That's similar. Slightly different, but similar. Geldnir, we're not even going to place it in. Or if we're going to look at it. Next up, we have Bella. And Bella's one of those units. I talked about it when I started making this tier list. It's insanely strong if you have those rune qualities that pretty much not even just G3 players have, but like top 50 players have. If you don't have that, Bella is not as strong. And that's also why you could probably see that in G3 her win rate is way higher than in G1. Because you need to have that good runes, good artifacts, good everything, and then she becomes insanely strong. But this is one of those units, if you have those good runes, those good artifacts, Obaba is not sure, like, Obaba's the most known used, Bella user. But look at the Bella from Lufia. That one was way more insane in my opinion. Like, that one was really sick. Like, he actually showed the stats on the video of Vidya Killed, so I can actually say how fast it was. That thing was 200 bio. And then with crazy stats. Like, fuck bro, that thing was fucking insane. So, yeah, Bella's like that with crazy artifacts. Lufia had a crazy one. Obaba had a crazy one. Roxas has a crazy one. All of these European players have like crazy Bellas. There's like a bunch more. This thing does so much. And for those kind of guys, if they rune up a really good Bella, you have to invest the runes in it because you can also drop that 200 set somewhere else, right? If you drop that set in it, it's absolutely you. It's on par with these other units. Absolutely. I think for, like, if you look at G1-ish, she's probably down here or here. But if you have those crazy units, she's absolutely a 92.5 for me. Moving on to some demons. Mephisto. I don't really think Mephisto is used as much. Mephisto was a little bit used around the time that we had the Nana meta. But besides that, it's not really used. Nope. And nope. Don't have to place it. I did want to put in Lucifer. And Lucifer specifically because I saw a few players do this. Kelly and Bao is one of them. But I saw more players do this. Make a Lucifer. Yeah, and that's actually... Lucifer pick rate is a little bit higher. And that's not Cleave Lucifer. That's counter Leo Lucifer. So it's not necessarily where you say like, okay, I pick Leo and Lucifer. And then one of the two gets banned and you get fucked. You say, I know you have Leo. So I pick the Lucifer. So I fuck you up. That one is, yeah, Lucifer picked like that with just low speed, very high stats and everything is a very dangerous thing. Like, I think it's a very solid counter. It is just a Leo counter, so you can't use it as much. So I'm going to give him 70 for that. But I think he's very strong for that reason. Like, I would absolutely use Lucifer in RTA, but that's only if I get Leo. But... you can somewhat force getting Leo more often, but it does make your draft more difficult. Because let's say you go Sonya and a bunch of other things. If you play Sonya Will all the time, and then you put that together with the Lucifer, that's actually pretty strong. Wow. No, that's actually a pretty nice idea. I would probably force that for a while. Just build all kinds of units that he will definitely Leo you. And then you just Lucifer +1, that's also a Leo counter. And you always let the Leo through. But your Sonya has that high attack and high crit damage that it still can snipe out like a low target. That could be a pretty fun draft. Because if you Sonya all the time, you get Leo'd all the time. But if you build that hard counter like a Lucifer on top of that, like Lucifer owners, maybe some ideas. I think it's definitely something that could be pretty nice. But it's not that well done or not that well tested. So it's just theoretical, so I'm not sure if it's that great. But I've seen Kelly and Bao and a few others use this and have good success with it. But then again, Kelly and Bao has that many units that he would have success with everything. So that also doesn't really care. Beelzebub. Beelzebub, or whatever it's called. We saw it get Legends once. Afterwards, not used as much. Biggest issue for him is like the cooltime increases, all of that kind of shit. Win rate is not bad per se. It's around 50. Well, like a 0.5% below 50. It's not that bad. Pick rates are still 1.5. I would say that it's also one of those units, just a late pick. Like as a late pick, it's not that bad, but it's also not crazy good as a late pick, I would say. Because it's just the last pick, but as a last pick, it's not even getting super high win rate. So that just makes it worse. Vigor, pretty sure not used. Barbara. I would say Barbara was buffed to have more consistent attack bar boost on the S3. So in other words, if you suck in damage, you at least still boost. Is that good enough? In G1, 51 win rate, 0.51. Not too bad. In G3, how we're looking at. Okay, that's just boosted by, I don't remember that guy that had like a crazy freaking fast one. Belial? Wait, is Belial even used? Let me first check Belial. I don't think he's used though. Belial, not used enough. Not used enough. Don't have to put it in. Belial's not that great. Like, Belial's more or less just a counter on Douglas. Like, that's literally the only thing he does. But yeah, Barbara, it does have some boosted win rate, but Barbara still gets like a 70 for me. I don't really feel the unit too much. Like, it's 108 speed, which is definitely not bad. It's definitely something that you could work with. But a lot of the units that are fast are on that like 113 to 116 base. Like, you're gonna lose that. Plus, Athna's that strong, Sonia's that strong. You have too many wind units that are strong that just one-shot you anyways. Masha. Somewhat lesser used right now because we also have the Meowing getting into meta and a bunch of other fire units, but definitely still strong. 51.13 on the win rate for a unit that's high spammed. That's definitely high in G3. And in G1 it's actually lower. And that's actually a thing that you can see the difference in G1 to G3. In G1, a lot of the wind units have higher win rate, and in G3, a lot of the fire units actually have higher win rate. So that kind of cancels each other out, I guess. That G3 players better know like how to counter the elements, maybe. I don't know. But Masha is straight up an 80 for me. It's, yeah, I think it's pretty much as good as a Meowing. It's just used in different scenarios. Meowing is more of a bruiser where you say the enemy gets a lot of turns, and then I start killing on that. Masha's more of those, like, okay, you have those pushbackers, you have those CP, you have those Moors, you have those Olivers, you push back, you boost up my Masha, and my Masha starts killing things. Plus, Masha's really killing in the first turn, whereas Meowing is killing after, like, a good bruiser fight. So, the two of them are kind of similar, but used very different. However, they do share pretty much similar runes, so then it's kind of the trade-off. Which of the two do you rune really good? I would say Masha's more of a hard counter to wind units, so you can lower the crit rate, whereas Meowing I would recommend to always go 100 crit. And next up is Savannah. I'm pretty sure no one uses that. Savannah is not a bad unit. Savannah is just too hard to build with the Resistance Awakening. But I think if you take away the Resistance Awakening from Savannah, she would become too OP. Like, she has a very strong kit to become very OP. She's just not used as much because she's too hard to build. Plus Leos. Leo is the answer to a lot of those things. Narsha actually showed the lowest win rate in G3. Like, in G1, it's 51.5. In G3, we checked before, it's 43% win rate. And it goes up by 1% in... Well, these are just 169 matches, so it doesn't really say too much in G3. In G1, those matches are quite a bunch more. But win rate is not crazy, I would say. I would give Narsha probably 75. Would I use Narsha that much if I had her? Well, Narsha still has the issue of also being hard to build. You need that crit rate on her. You need that high accuracy on her. She can still miss her strip. She can still miss that armor break. The armor breaks are just one turn. Like, if her armor break was 2 turns, she already instantly becomes this. But since it's a 1-turn armor break, it's just difficult to give her that much of rune quality too. Yeah, I don't know. She's worse than Diana. I don't know. I don't think she's worse than Diana, but she's definitely hard to use. Sienna, which has a very boosted win rate right now. I already saw that. She has like over 60% win rate. But every Sienna that is used out there right now is paired with like a Nephthys, Tianlang, Laura, and something like that. So she has a pretty high win rate in, well, she's even too low on pick rate in G1. In G3, she's over the pick rate, but she's like on a super high boosted win rate because of being a 5th pick and being like pre-picked with all kinds of LDs before that. Is she bad in all honesty? Not really, but is she any good? Nah, she's just a 5th pick. So 75 for me on Sienna. She's not bad, but she's not gonna get more than 75 for me. She's insane. I don't think she's insane. She needs way too many LDs to shine. Let's see on the next thing. Well, that's the big issue for her. Her S3 is not scaling on speed, which makes her damage output a lot less. Show her best pairs? Sure. Best pairs. Dream Team. LD, 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 LD. Actually, a few less. Well, these are... this thing is actually trash. Like, this is 1 match, 1 win. Ugh, no one cares. But, yeah, if... Wait. This unit has 283 matches in total. And Samsep played 110% of those matches. Thank you, math. Fucking Einstein died for this discombobulated math right here. As we say in Dutch, he would turn around in his grave if he read those numbers. But yeah, something like that. Played in G2? Probably. Yeah, that makes sense. But even then, like, if his pick rate and his win rate is higher, then the whole standard of the thing is just boosted by one guy. So yeah, she's not that great, but she gets a 75 from me. Also needs a lot of runes, and he has a very good rune one. Like, he has like an over 122 or 123 efficient thing on it. Next up, we have some of Higgins. Sam has a great box. He absolutely has a great box with the Nephthys, the Maximilian, the Tianlang, all of that good stuff. But hey gang, where you at? Should be quite at the top, but it's probably... oh, it's not that bad. Hey gang, win rate is actually 46, which is respectively low. I think Sonia has something to say about it. Actually, in the match 4v4, it's 44% win rate. Wow. G1 probably a higher win rate, slightly bit. Hey gang is absolutely strong. I would be biased to put him very high, but I feel like Hey gang is absolutely an 80 tier. Like, even though his win rate is pretty bad, he's definitely high up there. But I also would say that Hey gang is not 85 tier. Like, he's hard of a counter pick, but also in a lot of matches he's just standing there not doing too much, kind of being a passive totem, hoping he's despair stunning, but then wouldn't do. Plus, in bruiser fights, he doesn't bring too much. Like, sure, your Hey gang kind of becomes a ragdoll if someone Camillas you, but I don't know. Yeah, his man rate is decent, but I feel like Hey gang is pretty doable to deal with, because sure, Hey gang is nice, and if you have like a very specific comp that you're always spamming like Valantis or you're always spamming Gianna, sure, Hey gang is really good. But those drafts are also somewhat falling away, and therefore like the value of a Hey gang is somewhat falling away. It's a lot more focused on single target damage these days, single target strips into single target damage. Whereas let's say you're playing a Hey gang plus a Maximilian, and then the finesse on the enemy side just goes for an S2 on the Maximilian moves. Yeah, good luck. Maximilian moves into full will, or a Nikki moves into full will, or even this thing moves into full will. Like, there's a lot of single target strips that actually mess up the Hey gang rather than make it that great. And I think it's really the meta, as you can see. Like, sure, we have a bunch of AoE units in those 4, but the meta is very strong, reliant also on the single target damage dealers that we see in here. Single target damage dealers, single target damage dealer, single target damage dealer. There's a lot of single target damage rather than a lot of AoE damage. Sure, we didn't place in all units yet, so it's kind of misleading, but there's a lot of strong single target damage out there. Joe Gunn did get the buff to not hit when, or counter doesn't work on your S3, which is just like a really strange mechanic for me. It's not even that it's like strange, but it feels like not fitting that skill. It's like, oh, you got hit, but oh, by the way, no counter. It's one of those things like you're playing like with your marbles at elementary school, and you feel like you're losing, and you start making up stupid rules just to win and don't lose your marbles. That's really how the Joker in S3 feels like, oh, by the way, no counter. It's like, what? Why? It doesn't make any sense. But it doesn't even make the unit good enough. At least I think so. Wait, where the hell is... Here it is. Does it even make him good enough? Ah, it has decent win rate. Low pick rate, though. Has decent win rate. In G3, it's not used. So I think in G1, it's just some kind of weird cleave. Would he become too OP to give him back his speed buff? I think so. I think it would become pretty OP. Well, we've seen, like, if you give any stripper a speed buff... No, if any stripper a speed buff, they become OP. Suddenly. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm still gonna place him, but I give him this. Not more than that. If it doesn't trigger any passives, then Jogun is up there. Absolutely. Like, yeah, that's the thing. Like, if his S3 fully doesn't trigger any passives, I would be like, okay, that makes sense, but just no counters, it's kind of weird. But if it would deny passives fully, I would say he's probably 80. Because if he denies passives, he would also deny Hey Gang. If he denies passives, he would deny Moors. And then he would become pretty solid. Then Humble would become even more useless. Maybe. Well, it's not that that thing is going to kill anything. But yeah, denying passives would probably even be stronger than giving the speed buff back. But would it make him like absolute god tier? I don't know. Denies Ragdoll. He's 15 crit rate anyways. Or should be. You could still crit on 15 crit rate though. Speed buff would be better. Speed buff would be better for the setup, that's true. CP, one of those units that spammed a lot. 22.5% on the pick rate in G1. 50.5% on the win rate, which is definitely high for that pick rate. In G3, the win rate of CP is actually really high. That's one of the highest win rates for a unit that's picked a lot, is it not? Yeah, 52. Like, if we look at the numbers over here, sure, more we're gonna get to that one, but for a non-LD, that's the first one that's, like, high over that. So, CP is definitely a unit that's very strong right now, but that's also because more is really strong, plus it really shines with the LDs. CP, insanely strong with a Laura. CP, insanely strong with, like, CP, those kind of things, so. With the TL. So, yeah, I would definitely say that he's up there. I feel like he might actually be the strongest elemental unit right now. Sure, he's somewhat countered by you, but since he's that elevated by being good with all of the LDs, like, this unit is insanely good with everything that's up there and everything that's here. Like, this thing doesn't have a bad pair in pretty much all of 90 plus. Well, okay, maybe two bad pairs. But besides that, it's a good pair with everything at -2 in 90 plus. So, yeah, that just elevates this unit to be really good because it's that good with the other pair. So, 92.5 for CP for me. Even 85 plus? Yeah, very true. Like 85 plus, yes, absolutely. I don't want another nerf. I already put her this high 3 times, Andre. It doesn't matter. I have no saying in this. I just point out the obvious, and they still decide to buff or nerf whatever they want. Like, there was a funny story about the Onmyouji. At some point, I put the Onmyouji in the 100 tier, and then someone wrote a comment and it's like, if Onmyouji gets nerfed because of this tier list, I'm gonna quit. And then Onmyouji got nerfed, and he's like, I'm quitting because of your tier list. I'm like, bro, I just pointed out the obvious. It's just pointed out the obvious. If a unit is OP, then they will nerf it. It's not me saying it's OP, they nerf it. No. The unit is OP, I put it there, and then they nerf it. Like, it's cause and effect in a different way. Next unit that was placing Mookwall. I've seen some people spam Mookwalls, but I feel like that Mookwall is only good in use if you have a Han. Without Han, Mookwall seems not that interesting. Like, for example, for Obabo, Mookwall is a very high wanted. Why? Because he has all the dark LD speed units. So then it makes sense, but without that, it makes a bit less sense. If I can find this unit over there. 52.2% win rate, close to 1% pick rate in G3. In G1, a bit less used, but yeah, I feel like it's... If you have those dark LD5s that are pretty much in this tier, he becomes good. If not, Mook was probably just 75 for me. Osada-san used it pretty well. He also has the Han. He has Han plus... does he have Bella? No, he doesn't have Bella, right? Yeah, if it's just Mookwo, I think it's just 75. Like, you really need that Han. Without Han, Mookwo kind of falls out. Wedjat, yeah, with Wedjat, it's kind of nice as well, I guess. Well, maybe I give him 1 up. No, I don't. 75. Then we go into the Moor, which is apparently in G3 the highest win rate unit in the game. But Moor is also the most versatile build unit in the game, because I think it's the only unit in the game where arguably Swift, Despair, and Vio, and Will and Non-Will is all viable. Whereas there's, for any of the other units, it either is a must on Will, you can maybe use the other 3 sets, or you can do something. But Moor is with the 4 most common sets out there. All 4 of them are viable to do or not to do, which is pretty insane. But his win rate, 51, and then the most pick rate out there as well. That's really insane. I would say, once again, very versatile. I would say Laura always will, because if you want a Vio, a Laura, I would put Laura on Will. The thing is, the more passive makes it that you don't need Will, because you're gonna get a turn. Like, sure, you could be CC'd, but you still get a turn. So, right? And Moor is insanely well paired with everything here that's 85 plus. Insanely well. So, Moor gets a 95 from me. But you would need some of the units that are here, preferably the LDs, to make it really shine. Otherwise, you're kind of bound to CP Moor, which people are also somewhat used to, but is still definitely strong. But if you want to pair those two to the best extent that they have, you kind of need any of the other units around here. That's, yeah, it's one of those synergy gods, absolutely. Like, the moment that you have some of those pairs, it really elevates. If you don't have any of the pairs, both of them drop like 1 or 2 tiers if you don't have any of the pairs with other things. But assuming G3 people have that high win rate because they have some pairs, that kind of makes it that high for me. Next one, Douglas. The unit that a lot of people do not like, but is definitely out there. Win rate of Douglas in G3 is close to 52%. What the fuck bullshit is that? The pair showing is kind of bullshit because it also shows like 1 match and then it's 100% win rate. So the pair showing is not that great in this side. But yeah, actually in the draft, the ban rate of this thing is insane. It's more the ban rate and then the drafting skills of G3 people having that insane of a draft where it's like, okay, if you do this right now, I just drop in the Douglas, it would solo. In the actual match, it doesn't always solo. But it does show in win rate that it's quite dangerous. And in G1, it's actually quite a lot less. That's kind of funny to see. So yeah, definitely a danger in the draft unit. And I would say danger in the draft unit gives an 80. So it's not necessarily that Douglas is picked a lot. But you always have to think of like, okay, if I draft this and this right now, they could lock in a Douglas, I'm fucked. And because of that danger and pretty much everyone in G3 having the unit, makes it that he becomes that strong for me, not because he's like spammable, pickable, that kind of stuff. It's that fear of the draft in the unit itself. And I guess he also has the highest ban rate of any unit out there. Yep, he does have a higher ban rate than Leo. Yeah, that's definitely the danger in the draft gives him a lot of value for me. Talisman. I'm pretty sure Talisman and Van Cleef are not used. Not even sure why they're there. Talisman. I did see some people cleave with it in G1. It's not a bad cleave if you happen to have like a Neftis or so, but not really something that I would say is anything viable for G3 tier list. Van Cleef, most likely same thing, but a lot of people always want me to put Van Cleef on there because there's a lot of people that are every tier or every balance patch hoping for that final 1 buff that makes Van Cleef like on Laura tier. But the only thing that would actually get it there is giving it the speed lead, I guess. Yeah, definitely not used enough. Moving on next to Ken. I don't think Ken is used as much. Ken is also not a bad unit. It's pretty much a Moor without a passive and speed lead. Okay, that's pretty bad. Those are the two factors that make Moor very good. Where do we see this unit? Oh wait, that's the different skin that I'm looking for. Bottom left. Are we skipping Wind Striker? Yep. Because he's not used. I can check Wind Striker for you if you want to, but he's not used. If I can find a unit. Well, I can always find units. That's not an issue. It's just a question of like how fucking long does it take? I guess the buff had no impact. Yeah, Kashmir is also one of those things. Like, buffed 16 times, still shit. Doesn't change a single thing. Plus, I can't find the stupid unit. It's too many layers of requirements. Yeah, even if they remove all of the layers. Well, the stupid thing is, they have like a similar thing in Chronicles with layers of requirement. And that thing is like fucking insane OP. But then he's hitting that kind of shit AoE, so if he lands something on anything, he starts going with the next cycle. So he always runs off his full cycle. For some reason, I think the unit is not in here. At least I can't find it, so fuck it. Next one is going to be Carnal. Definitely a unit we do see quite some. Do we see it to good extent? G1, 50 win rate, a little bit above that, 10% of pick, definitely high. G3, 51 win rate. You got 0 plays in RTA, could be. But yeah, definitely, it does go a little bit down. Yeah, Carnal's still one of those units. His S3 is inconsistent. That was also the Carnal nerf. S3 was made more inconsistent to stun less, slow less. Damage was still remained about the same. He's definitely strong, but I feel like he's not crazy strong. Would I place him at 80? No, I don't think so. I feel like he's weaker than 80. 77.5. He kind of fits there. I actually was the meta where Carnal was the strongest. I was first picking Carnal that whole meta. Or one of the strongest. He was not the strongest, but he was one of the stronger ones. Actually, also the Okeanos meta. I was fully like spamming Okeanos all the time. Ew, I'm out of rune spots. Okay, I have to be selling a little bit more selective right now. Out of rune spots is never chill. That's why artifact farming is a lot more chill. Artifact farming, you barely get out of artifact spots if you do it right. Same for grinds and gems. But rune farming, you definitely get out. Cigar, definitely high-picked units. 35% win rate, not crazy high. Cigar always lands on fire. Your cigar doesn't. Yeah, just a little bit below 50. But for the amount of pick rate that he has, he's definitely high up there. Is he an 85 or is he an 80? That is the big question. Is he stronger than these units out there? Yeah, I think he is. I think he is, actually. Like, he's used that much more than any of those units here. Plus, he has good win rate. Yeah, Cigar is 85 for me. Crack, probably not going to be on the list. Cigar's most, well, Cigar, like, the strong thing about Cigar is that his S1 is still CC. Like, all 3 skills are provoke. That just makes the thing nasty. I think we can just straight up skip Crack. It's not going to be on the list. And I'm wasting too much time finding all of these units that are not on the list. We go straight into Gurkha, which I think will be used enough. Okay, still below. It's actually used enough in G3. But 2-2 and everyone are just inting with it. Apparently it's no longer as good. I think Gurkha gets like 65. Wouldn't you one-up Cigar to 90? Is Cigar as good as like Vanessa and that kind of stuff? Yeah, he does have every skill being useful. That part is definitely strong. The thing for me is why I like Cigar less is because Meo Wang and Marsh are still that strong. I'm gonna get to these other units later. But yeah, the thing is with an early Cigar, you just throw a Meo Wang at it and Meo Wang is gonna fuck up the Cigar at some point. So, Personally, for me, I never had that much issues with Cigar, but I was heavily spamming Maya Wing, so that may be a thing for that. But if we look at the pick rates, is it similar to Juno and Vanessa? It is actually pretty similar. For win rate, same thing. Yeah, I feel that's fair. I feel like Cigar might be a 1-up. I feel that's fair, because he's more spammable than these units. Etna's kind of spammable, but low win rate. In between, no, I feel like he's fair on the 90, actually. These not used, Lulu not used, Shizuka. Tier list is already 2 hours, 10 minutes. Oh, fuck, this always takes way too long. This always takes way too long. Shizuka is close to 50 win rate, 17.5 on the pick rate. It's about the same in G1. Shizuka's definitely hard hit by that S2. Every time that Shizuka does that S2, you're like, I'm 1 turn away. That's why you know that's like, okay, that nerf hit hard. She's still okay-ish, but 77.5 for me. Her win rate does actually represent more than that, but I feel like she's not as great. I feel like she's very doable to deal with. The only time she's good if she's sacking and resisting everything. Yeah, that's the thing, like, because if you see a Shizuka, people just bring in that Cigar, people bring in the CP, people bring in the Oliver, people just bring in, like, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that's just kind of stuff that's... If she resists everything, she's good, but if she doesn't, like, if she sacks and resists everything, she's here. But she doesn't, she's there. That's kind of the thing. Plus Juno being hard counters and that kind of stuff. I don't like her as much. 77.5. Even though her win rate represents more. Next one on the list. Tomoe. Oh, we still have a lot of units to place. Tomoe. 48. Close to 49 on the win. Pick rate is just 4 in G1. In G3, actually one of the lower win rates. Close to 46. I feel like she's nice, but she has the biggest issue of landing on the S3. If her S3 was a skill that didn't hit, but just spread, she would be a lot better. Because then she wouldn't give a shit about wind units. But she's still nice for, like, speed lead and that kind of stuff. So, I give her 75. Next one up, Gyo. I think Gyo is one of the lowest win rate units out there right now. It was kind of made as a hard counter to Oliver, which it still is. But her issue is that there's already counters to that, I guess. Plus, we have some hard counters, some sort of hard hitters on fire right now. Gyo and Meme. Nah, she's not Meme. Good place. Gyo is still not bad, but I feel like Gyo is not much better than 70 these days. Woyoung, same tier as Jaeger. Yep. Jaeger actually has high win rate. Jaeger has 49 win rate. I was surprised about that too. Sime, the most boring unit in the game. It stands there and then throws an S1 that doesn't do anything. So you just pray for Despair Stones. And then people put it to Vio. I'm like, Vio for what? It's like, yeah, then she has her S2 faster. For what? I'm not planning to have my units dead. Can you check Sigurd? Who the hell's Sigurd? Wow, Same so good. 45% win rate. Wait, wasn't she like super high win rate before? Dark Ivor. Oh, we'll get there. But wow, her win rate dropped a lot. Not really sure what's the reason of that. Interesting. Well, I never liked her anyways. In G1, she's kind of working still. Yeah, she gets 75 from me. I noticed I'm not using Same as much anymore as well. Like, just her as a counter to buffers. Like, some people use her like, oh, I see a Wusa, I use Same. Like, nah. Yeah, meta change. Yeah, more single target damage and less AoE CC that leaves debuffs and shit, I guess. Duman. Yeah, I really want to change my Same for Duman. That thing actually, well, if it lands, it's good. But, whoa, 52 win rate. Holy shit. In the draft, a very high danger in the draft as well. 40% ban. That's really insane. She has some high win rates. Yeah, I definitely do like Domon. Domon gets 85 for me. Like, you can tell me what you want. It's like, Dumon is, she misses. Yeah, but if she lands, your unit dead. It's like, yeah, but she can miss. It's like, yeah, and if she doesn't, you dead. And there's still higher chance of she does than she doesn't. So, and if she doesn't, you can still Vio-proc and get Karma and get your skill back in like 3 seconds. So, I feel like that she has some, Domon for me definitely feels strong. Maybe because I was spamming Camilla, it felt a little bit stronger, but I don't know. I feel like that's... No, I would say she's not that spammable. I give her 80. I give her 80. Like, these units are way more spammable. I give her 80. Just not to get everyone mad. No, but I actually feel like she's 80. She's not that spammable, but she's a very solid last pick. Going into some Onimusha territory. Starting off with Suiki. Suiki is 5% pick rate, 47 on the win, 45 on the win in G3. It felt like one of those units that everyone should pick up and is really strong. I still kind of feel that way. Is a strong 5th pick still, but I feel like maybe too many people use it. I'm not sure. Or people expect it to solo the whole freaking thing and then it doesn't. It is strong though. A good Suiki is definitely strong. Kaki, no one used. Kinky, however. We saw a lot of Kinkies make the finishing blow in SWC. Like, if you check the SWC, like, especially the final matches, there were so many matches where Kinky was fighting the last 2 or 3 units, and the Kinky pretty much always won those. Like, I'd rather have Kinky than a whole bunch of the bad LV5s. Like, not gonna lie. And I still like a Kinky. But Kinky is also very strong if you have Nefties. That definitely is a fair factor too. But I would give Kinky a... Would we say Kinky on 85? Kinky is Thanos. Inevitable. I actually feel like Kinky is 85 for me. It's that strong of a last pick that a lot of people do really struggle with killing. Yeah, I feel like Kinky is 85 for me. I do have the Nefties, which makes it a little bit biased because Kinky is very good to AoE armor break, but then again, he also has that self setup. And also, by the way, you sometimes get the question, should I put it on Vio or Despair? Vio, always. And the thing is S1 setup for his S2 armor break, or yeah, his S2 in an armor break. S2 does like fucking 17k damage while this thing is full tank. Like, holy shit, where's that damage coming from? So yeah, always Vio. Onmyouji. Unit hard nerfed, but is still usable. It's not as great anymore. But win rates in G1 are definitely still high, like 53. But in G3, people tend to care or deal with it better. That's the thing, like, you can still stun it right now. Like, oh, you can't kill it when stunned. At least it doesn't do 50% extra damage. I feel like Onmyouji is not bad, but I give Onmyouji just an 80. Like, I feel like Onmyouji is worse than Kinky at the moment. Sure, it's maybe a better counter against things that stuns a lot. But I would definitely say that... yeah, I would actually say that Kinky is better and more spammable by a long shot than Onmyouji in this case. So I give it a 1 down for that. LD5 versus LD4. Nana. Ooh, Nana. What's her name? Oh, wait. 10% on the pick rate and 49 on the win rate in G3. Actually pretty high win rate. 52 on G1. Definitely still strong unit out there. I haven't picked one myself in ages. I feel like if you play more of a bruiser style, it's probably still strong and still very usable. But do we give that an 80? No, I actually feel like it's a 77.5. I feel like a lot of people can kind of deal with it. It is somewhat of a counter to Sonya, especially if you make her defense. However, her defense base is like non-existing, so you actually have to go speed defense or something like that. Because of Ragdoll, yeah, I feel like she's just good paired with Ragdoll. Like, you kind of need like the LD bruisers. Like, she's also good paired with like a Julian or a Han or like... Yeah, those kind of pairs, I could see it. But even then, I feel like other units kind of fit it better. So I just give her 77.5 for that reason, I guess. And we got a tier 1 from Steven. Appreciate it. We go into Coco. No one uses Coco. I only use Coco. And Coco is not that great. I need Coco to proc to insta-kill shit. Coco, these are all the... Yeah, 50% of the time it doesn't proc on the first hit. Yeah, Nana plus Onmyouji was very strong. Absolutely. Yeah, but Nana used to revive with like, what, 60% HP? Like, how fucking ridiculous was that? I think it was 60%. I actually spent Nana in as the... Like, the year that I played best in SWC, I was actually the only Nana spammer in there. That definitely boosted my SWC one. Overwatch 2 update has started. I don't care. Go away. Now playable. Still don't care. Thank you. Kiki. One of the best siege defense units out there still. Good thing it's slightly nerfed because it was really broken. But for a G3 unit, not really usable. I would say it's not bad for like a 5th pick thingy. As a 5th pick, it's not bad. Certain situations. Nana Beelzebub was Sophia. Yep. Then we go into everyone's favorite unit. Miles. Actually, Miles' win rate dropped off quite some. Just realized your title isn't talking about... Oh wait, what's my title? I don't even know. Wait, my title is Season 28 tier list, right? Yeah, should be. Should be saying making tier list. But Miles, 47 on the win rate. Not that high. I also feel like people kind of know how to deal with it now. I bet you in Conqueror it's higher. Yep, Conqueror it's 50. So not surprised about it. But Miles is annoying, but Miles is also not crazy good in G3. But Miles is definitely usable in G3. I would say 77.5. Is he better than those units? Yeah, I would say so. He's still more spammable. Like, he's definitely up there. John. Are people actually using John as bomber? I don't think so. Refreshing. Okay. Yeah, Miles was great for Wedjat users. Definitely true. John actually has decent win rates, but it's not picked enough. Miles needs to proc or stun to be good. That is pretty true. Miles that never procs doesn't do too much. Oliver, the good old unit that everyone still hates, but is actually not as crazy anymore. There's a lot of counters to Oliver these days. He's good though, but it's absolutely not that he's the best unit out there, but he is definitely high up. Would we say that we put him in this? Let's compare him to Vanessa. Vanessa has about same win rates, a little bit lower on the pick rate. In the 4v4, it's about same as well. Yeah, I kind of feel them on the same level. 90, I think. Like, Oliver is by all means not bad, but there is good amount of counters into Miles right now. Or into Oliver right now. But he's still like a 90. He's absolutely still up there, being annoying, being good at what he does. But people saying like, oh, we had Oliver meta for like 3 years right now. No bullshit. More in CP is something that we had longer, and it's more getting back right now. Plus, I think this is the most versatile meta we ever had, because if you check like the first picks, like there's a lot of units that are good as first pick right now. What's the most first pick unit? Yeah, there's actually, the versatility in first picks is actually pretty big. It's never been this big. Like most of the time it's literally just 2 units first picking. Now there's quite some. Which runes do you take from the event? Slot 2 speeds is the most safe pick that you can make. But the main thing you have to keep in mind, anything that you would roll, no matter what it rolls in, if it rolls high, it's usable. So don't go for speed chasing. Daniel. Damn, Daniel. I think the unit is good, but it needs a lot of setup. But once the setup is there and he goes, he goes. But until then, yeah. Where is damn unit at? Finding units is the biggest struggle of this whole tier list. 52 win rate, not bad actually in G1. 52 high, 53 even in G3. Yeah, I think it's a very strong... If you have that good setup for it, he becomes a very strong unit. But you kind of need 2 AoE strippers, 2 AoE pushbackers, speed leads, and then this unit in the 5th slot, while still being strong if Daniel doesn't go through. Because the moment Daniel fits as, like, perfectly, he's probably gonna get bad. And we come to USA with the Raider. Appreciate it. But, yeah, I would say Daniel is definitely one of those 75s that's good as a 5th pick. How do you choose what speed leads fits best for your comp? That's very hard. I think the easiest speed lead to pick up right now is Vanessa, because it just fits with everything. More is more of those AoE CC units and AoE, more AoE strips like with it. Oliver pretty much means that you probably have to go into like segments and other units to single target strip or something like that. Feels like with that setup, any AoE CC unit can win. Fairly true, fairly true. We go into Robo territory. Fire Robo. Definitely not a unit we see too much, because people don't really have the rune depth to put another Despair set on the Fire Robo. He's good, but he would need or he would need Despair to be very good. Which, there's no way you have another 185 Despair set for that Robo or some shit. And if you have it, you'd probably rather drop it at something else. Wind Robo, though. 50% win rate, very close. 8% on pick rate in G1. 44% win rate on the G3. Well, actually, I was picking a lot of the draft with Oliver Gianna into a Nefty's Robo, and then 5th pick was 9 out of 10 like a Tayor. Tayor was always a ban, I did enough additional damage, and then it made it work. This did also counter like Hey Ganks and that kind of stuff, because this thing was swift. The big issue, however, is Sonya's. That whole draft is outspeed by a Sonya, by a segment, and by everything, and therefore probably the Robo win rate dropped by quite some. But 44 is really low for Wind Robo, actually. I expected Wind Robo to be higher. I still feel like the unit is pretty decent, but maybe we're going to put it at 77.5 then. I feel like that the Dark Robo is more targeted towards also very specific drafts, whereas you have a draft that's revolving around like a Han or something like that. Let's see what this thing actually shows. 51.5% on the win rate. Maybe also the Douglas and that kind of stuff. Like Wind Robo can deal with Douglas. Dark Robo can actually deal with Douglas. So that makes the difference in there quite some as well. Plus the Dark Robo can stun a Vert or any of those kind of things. So those are differentiating things that I would say is the difference between those two, which also makes the Dark Robo pretty strong. And a lot stronger, but also the Dark Robo is a lot more elevated on having the right LDs. So I'm not going to put Dark Robo a lot higher, because it's just Dark Robo is good with the right LDs. Otherwise, not a crazy. Sup, Rosit? How you doing, my man? Those were all the Robos. Yes, at all of those. Yeah, Alaya next. Wind Robo can also Despair stuff. True, but Wind Robo for some reason is not that common to be on Despair. Because he already stuns in the S3, I guess. Which actually makes it somewhat fun, because if your S3 doesn't stun by itself, it gets resisted, but it gets stunned by Despair, his cycling still goes on. The odds of it happening are kind of low though, but it would be funny if it does happen. I'm looking for an Alaya. One of the weirdest unit to spell the name of, I feel like. I always misspell that one by a long shot. It's probably not even called Alaya, I don't even know. It is used though. I think it's mainly used, well, sometimes I feel like Alaya is stronger than a Feng Yang, and that's, or Alaya's good paired with Feng Yang first, but Alaya is stronger than Riley, and that is because defense buff is quite some. But is she that crazy good? I feel like she's kind of on this spot. Like, she's weird as good fitting in certain drafts, but it's not anything crazy good. So she gets 70. Just wonderful in serve. Yeah, for into serve, she's a cheat code. Like, absolutely. Nora. We used to see a few Noras that were like triple revenge and that kind of stuff into AoE CC comps. But I haven't seen those in quite a while as well. I think it also didn't work that well. Yeah, that's not that much pick rate, so people are not using Noras. Riley's is definitely strong though. Riley is also definitely strong because you get a lot of that Camilla, Maya Wang, those kind of drafts in there. Plus just the typical ragdoll drafts. Riley, 50% win rate. 45 in G3 though. So in G3 it's quite a bunch less. But I still think she is strong. I would actually say Riley is 77.5 for me. I feel like there's a lot of drafts where Riley does make sense, even though her win rate doesn't really resemble that. Yeah, I feel so. Then we have Ella. Ella is actually one of those units I saw placed a few times with, well, a shit ton of other LDs. 9 out of 10. But she did quite some more work than I thought she would do. Which made me want to see her current win rate. I have no clue where this unit at. Well, same as with most units. Oh yeah, shit. This is actually pretty decent on win rate. It's not, well, it's a lot better than it used to be. It used to be like near to nothing, but it's not that bad. Okay. 47% win rate on G3, but 52.5 on G1. I think it is somewhat usable with, yeah, just other units that most of the time still LDs, I feel like. But cold time decreasing is pretty nice. It's kind of niche. Is it on Riley level? I'm not sure, but I give her 75. Yeah, I think that's... Maybe if people get more used to playing into her, she would drop some in win rate, but... Yeah, I don't know. I feel like she has quite some potential. Maya, well, definitely don't have to look for Maya. That unit is shite. Where is then Carlos at? Carlos is at 46% win rate. That's actually somewhat lower than I thought. People were using it to counter Sonya, but probably not working that well. Yeah, I guess so. On G3, it's actually working a bit better. G3 is like 50% win rate. Ban rate is pretty decent. G1, probably people don't have good enough runes invested into it. What kind of comps is Carlos using? It's more of a counter to Sonya, that's all. So a counter to Sonya and a counter to Nana. Those are the only two it's actually countering. So I would say 75. I feel like it's a decent counter to Sonya. Dominic, you actually do see some people using Dominics again. But then again, most of the people that you see using Dominics, they have a Nikki. What the fuck is that win rate? 58% win rate? That is clouded as fuck. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, this win rate makes a lot more sense. I'm pretty sure it's all Nikki spammers. Yeah, it's not that many games, but I'm pretty sure it's all Nikki spammers. So I would say Dominic is decent to good. But yeah, do I even give this? No, I don't give this. I give 75. The win rate shows a lot more. I feel like Dominic is nice, but you kind of need a Nikki to make Dominic good. And since it's like a lot of these units, they need 1 or 2 pairs of like out of 6 units to be good. But this one needs 1 specific all LD5 to be good. And without that, it's kind of like, so yeah. Then we have Maximilian. Well, I would say in Special League, Maximilian is absolute god tier. Maximilian in RTA normal, 52 win rate on 8.5 pick rate in G3. It's not bad, kind of expected lower. In G1, it is also about 52. It is definitely a strong unit, but you need a very specific draft to make it work. But I think he's definitely strong. I would give Maximilian 85. I feel like Nephthys is slightly stronger because Nephthys has that silence. And that silence just adds a little bit more of CC in general, which just makes it better. And with Maximilian, you really have to go, balls deep to make it good. And then the draft becomes very predictable. Whereas Nefties, you can go a lot more routes. Yeah, heal block, glancing, those are pretty strong. Maxi has to be cleave, exactly. So with Nefties, you don't have to go to AoE strippers. With Maxi, you always have to go to AoE strippers. You have to take that first turn. So yeah, for that reason, I think Maximilian is definitely strong and a very nice unit. But you have to go for that very specific draft. Plus, like you could say like, oh, but Kalian Bao makes it works and he gets Legends. Like, yeah, that's also because of like his Veronica. I think this one is probably best paired with the Veronica. Like without that Veronica, he also tends to pick it a lot less. Like sure, you could more and then this, but you're working with 24 leads, and therefore you're probably not going to pick up another 33 lead, but you still have to outspeed. And that's the thing that we didn't see that much in Legend Tournament. He didn't get too much speed contested. Like, it's so easy to outspeed someone that goes 24 leads. If you go 33 lead and a high base speed unit, you guaranteed outspeed. Even if you're a fastest Swift set on that unit, it's 10 speed less. So, yeah. That is kind of the limitations of it. But definitely very strong unit out there. We go on with Minato. Also recently buffed unit. I reruned mine to make it quite a bit faster. No longer on 100 res. I think the 100 res is nice, but his biggest issue is getting stunned. But if you're fast, he gets out of stun quickly. That's kind of my idea behind it. I haven't tested it that much yet, so I'm not sure if it's the way I want it to go, but it's definitely an option. But Minato is 47.5% win rate in G3 and then 1% higher in G1. It is not bad. The main thing that you have to remind with Minato, like for example, Minato against a Camilla 100% wins. Because in the off turn, Camilla just goes for a freeze and then Minato doesn't do anything anymore. Like it's ripped, super GG. But is it a good unit? Yeah. But I would still say he's not on Douglas level. Absolutely not. The moment you stun him, he's done for. Like he can't do anything. You just have to know how he works and when you can hit him and when you cannot hit him. That if you know those things, he's absolutely not that great. But I even give him like 75. I think he's not that great. Like I often feel like, oh, this is where he should kill the whole thing. He gets a random despair stun at the off moment, he dies. It's just that. Ren. It's actually a unit we've seen quite some people picking up. Glorious picked it up quite some. Obabo picked it up quite some. Is a very high base speed unit. Is actually very high on the win rate as well, and is actually also outspeeding Sonya and that kind of stuff, which is definitely an interesting factor as well. Very high win rate on G3, 55, but I guess somewhat clouded by some people spamming that. But even in G1, it's pretty strong up there, and there's probably a unit I should think about building myself as well, but there's so many speed units out there that are you have to build right now. You have to build an Ethna, an Eshir, a Sekhmet, a Ren. There's too many speed units you have to build. So that's also the reason everyone is sitting there ass slapping a big blue giant these days. But what do I give Ren? Like if I look purely at the win rate, well, the pick rates aren't that high. But if I look purely at the win rates, it would be probably somewhere here or there. I'm not too sure. It's better than Sekhmet for real. Is it? Like, I don't have that much experience with it. I have experience against it, and against it, I just throw a Juno at it and I laugh. So, I don't know. I feel like it's not better than 85 for me, but it could be. Also, I have most of my units will. Like, I feel like if you have a lot of the units not on will, yeah, I think that's the biggest question. Like, is the enemy willed or not? And I am a lot willed in most cases, and for that reason, it's not that interesting for me. So like, oh yeah, you do whatever, I just still do my shit, I don't care. But if you have like 3 units off will, I can totally see that this unit starts fucking your ass. But I'm gonna say 85, because people, I think this win rate is high because people are not used to it, how to play against it. Same thing for like Minato. Like the moment that they know when to hit it, how to hit it, it's not as great. Shen, that one is bad. Shun, that one is bad. Ritsu, that one is also bad. I'm gonna check if Ritsu might be picked enough. Shun, most likely not, and otherwise it's just Glorious inting on that unit probably. Ritsu. Nope. No one uses that shit. Shun. Most likely also same thing. Sympathy. Yep, neither of them. Amber. Unit I pick up from time to time, and it's somewhat nice against things that don't have any cleanses, because the heal block is guaranteed. And a guaranteed heal block plus some damage on debuffs is never that bad. But does she always really work out? Nah. Oh, win rate is actually not that bad, 52, but below 1% pick rate. That's in G1. G3, about same-ish. I would say that I give her a 70. Like, I often feel like that one of the other units that is like a good 5th pick would do better, and she's just a 5th pick. Claire is not used. Sonia. Let's look at some Sonia. Sonia is 20% pick rate, and win rate is 50.70. Ban rate is 40. That is a very high ban rate for that high of pick rate unit. In G1 is about the same. Where do we place Sonia? Well, Sonia goes straight to 90, minimum. Do we go 92.5? Yeah, we go 92.5, because she has that much fear in the draft. Like, her fear in the draft makes it that she is that dangerous that Sonia in so many drafts is like, oh, that's a must ban. And that fear in the draft, that's like, okay, I cannot draft this right now. Like, even if Sonia doesn't show up in the match, you have to keep her in mind. And, like, Douglas is one of those things, you have to keep it in mind, but you can kind of deal with it. If you don't have anything drafted to deal with a Sonia, you have to ban it. And that must ban that is in there, let's also see, like, the difference between 4v4. Yeah, the moment she's in the 4v4, she actually gets higher on win as well. Let's see if that's also in G3. Oh, in G3, it's actually less. So yeah, that's just that fear in the draft. So she's really strong. So she goes 92.5 for me. Next up, Veronica. I still feel like Veronica is very strong. A lot of people say like, Veronica nerfed. Well, a lot of people. Some Veronica users say Veronica is really nerfed, really bad. Holy fuck, 57.57 win rate in G3. Are you kidding me? That unit supposed to be bad? Holy shit. But pick rate in G1 is about 50. Pick rate in G3 is 10%. You could say that's clouded by people like Kelly Abal, but 10% is a high number. We go 95 for sure. Question is, do we go higher than 95? Because Tianlang has a lot lower win rate, has a lot higher pick rate. I feel like I fear things than... I would say, do I fear... Yeah, I feel like Veronica's just there. Yeah, if you compare it to those two, yeah. I was thinking like, are you the same level? But if I compare you to you two, I would say Veronica's stronger. I would absolutely say Veronica's stronger, yeah. Some people that have a Veronica might disagree, but that is very much allowed. That's why it's my tier list and not theirs. Hee. Let's continue on farming. I want to see if Destiny is ever picked up. Destiny is also one of those stat-hungry things that is just too hard to rune. That's the lowest win rate for sure. 39% win rate. Well, I'm not sure who tried to make it work, but I guess he dropped out of G3 a bunch of times because of it. But it's above 1% win rate, so we're gonna place that in, but that doesn't get much more placement on this. Sadly enough, though, because I think she's one of the coolest units in the game. Like, the S3 that she has, like, by far is coolest skill in the game. Even though there's Maximilian S3, but... yeah, you need, like, G4 rune quality to make her work, I guess. She needs way too much stats. This thing is not used. Manon. I don't think people still really use Manon. It's not as great anymore. Manon is good into AI stuff, because then you can decide what hits you, more or less, depending on elements. But in RTA, it's no longer the case. And I'm very happy about that, because fuck Manon. That meta, that was for me the most stupid meta out there. Like the Manon meta. People would just go Molly Manon. That was the meta. Janitor meta, that's how I called it. Full janitor meta. Audrey, not used enough. Giselle is most likely used enough. Giselle is actually 54.5% win rate, 1.71 on the pick rate in G1. G3, it's 2% lower on the win rate with a 52.5. Pick rate about same. In the 4v4, she's actually very strong. Holy shit, she got 3% up in the win rate in the 4v4. Ban rate is incredibly high. Wow. That is definitely a fear of a unit. I would say 80. Mainly the fear of the unit makes her that strong. I feel like she's kind of... You can deal with her because most drafts these days have some form of single target strip. But her appliance of the S3, like the uptime of her invisibility, is pretty high though. So for that reason that. And we got Adapandro with a gifter. Appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Thank you, thank you. You're about like 5 days early, but still appreciate it. Ooh, we got the pure vanilla cookie water. That is definitely a unit that is used these days, but how much win rate? We got 15% pick rate. That's actually pretty high for a unit that just got buffed in this meta. It's something, or not in this meta, in this patch, and instantly got picked up so much. Win rate, not crazy high, but pick rate is high. The moment in the match, it's a little bit lower. But definitely a unit that's instantly super high up. But how high up do we go? Because I hear a lot of people say like, oh, I started spamming this thing and I started dropping a lot of ranks. Yeah, I'm not too sure that if it's that crazy good then. I feel like it's good, but I'm not sure if it's like super crazy good. Like I still feel like you need a very specific draft in mind with very specific runes to make it work. I would say that her S2 is absolutely strong, but you need a lot of Swift sets to be good. So for that reason that, yeah, I'm not sure. I am not sure about this one. Might be here. No, I'm actually gonna put it on 80. 80 for the pure vanilla cookie. And we have Lucia, the fire pure vanilla cookie. It's actually on pretty high win rate, close to 51 in G1. G3, it's 52. It's one of those annoying units that is a pretty hard counter into Oliver mainly, but also other pushback units. And you just put it on triple revenge. I feel like that this unit might actually be pretty strong. I'm gonna put it one down because you can't use it too often. But I feel like this is one of those units that's probably also very high in the ban factor to non-ban factor. Not much, but does have a high ban factor. But yeah, she heals a lot. Can you put it on 100 tier so she gets nerfed? If I put anything on the 100 tier, that doesn't mean it gets nerfed. If I put whatever is OP on the 100 tier, then they get nerfed because they were already OP. It doesn't work the other way around. We also see, wait, what's her name? Angela? The other cookie. Mainly used with people that also like to use Chandras, Julians, something like that. Alexandras. Not as good as the season before, I would say. The season before it felt stronger. Win rates are like 45 in G3, 49 in G1. I would say it's still kind of up there, but a little bit less, 75. I have light cookie, interesting what you think. Storage. I think I didn't even put it in here, did I? Nope, only put the dark one in here. Because the dark one is actually used, and light one is pretty much storage. Dark one is not used as much anymore. Or, well, not anymore, but it's used here and there. Not that much used, but I feel like it can counter the passes pretty well. But I also feel like she's somewhat hard to use, because you kind of want Vio on her, while being like incredibly slow. So you kind of have to put Swift on her, and then she doesn't really fit the draft too much. So for that reason, I'm gonna one down her to 75. I feel like she's strong, but she's just hard to use. You have to kind of commit good runes to it. I'll go for Sibala. I actually haven't drafted the Sibala in ages. Well, there's so many fast units today that you kind of have to decide which of the fast units do you go for. And Sibala for me is too much of the same thing. And for that reason, it doesn't really work out. I also would say Sibala win rate 48.80, dropping down in the 4v4. G1's a bit higher. Yeah, I would say Sibala kind of lost its charm as well. It is nice, but since you have like Sonias and those kind of things, Athma being that popular, those things just make it better. It's definitely still up there, but I would say 77.5. Also, the amount of pick rate is not that high. Like, if you check this pick rate compared to, like, an Eshir or anything like that, I feel like that's the one from Sibala is a lot lower. So, for that reason, also gonna drop her in the list quite a bit. Or would I put it 80? No, I even feel like if you put good Swifts, you might as well drop it on this thing. More Puppeteers. We got Zima. I'm curious if people actually use Zima. I tried Zima once. I was disappointed. And the main issue for Zima is that Zima S3 should not do damage, and therefore it can land on water targets. But since it does damage, it's nearly impossible to land it on water targets, and therefore it's just a shit unit. So we don't have to go for that one. That one, Smicer. That's actually something that was picked up by Nicer Smicer before SWC. After SWC, a lot more people start picking it up. And then everyone was like, wait, this unit is actually shit. Like, the moment we know how it works, how to play against it, this unit is actually garbage. It's kind of funny, like, how it worked for, like, one person. And then everyone thought he was like, we gotta make it work. And then everyone figures out, like, no, this unit is actually shit. Maybe the meta also switched, like, a little bit. Yeah, like, well, Racuni was good at that time already. Meowing was new at that time, and I think Meowing just shits on this thing. And next up we have first Gavachi. At least I think Gavachi is the name. Gavachi is one of the few weird units where not a single right side artifact makes sense. Where is this guy with the weird ass hat? That's the girl with the weird ass hat. I think it should be used in RTA, right? Anywhere, somewhere. Probably passed it 4 times already. Feel like currently I struggle the most with just finding the units. Is he anywhere? Maybe he's not even in here. 3rd form above Geldnir. Wait. It's not in the 3rd row. What do you mean? In the last column. Wait, what the hell are you talking about? 3rd from last column. Wait, is that this? What the fuck is that even for explanation? No, that's the other one. That's Linda. That's actually Linda, bro. 3rd from last column. Wow. Yeah, I don't think he's even in there, so he's probably not gonna be in anything useful. It's a hat. That's what I said. Like, that's the weird looking chick with the hat. I actually pointed out that one as well specifically. Zinezek, though, do we see that one? If not, I know they're both storage guardians anyways. Like, I'm wasting my time on storage guardians. Well, Zinezek... No, wait. Zinezek can be used. What? Then we have the chick with the hat. Where the hell damn Zinezek at? 3rd row. Wait, in here? Ah, yeah. You're right. 45% win rate. Still low. A little bit higher in this. Neither of them have above 1% pick rate. Still not really a great unit. I think he's also not that great. I think Zinezek might be decent-ish, but I think a lot of people that don't have him overrate him, and therefore, like, the ban rate is just high. Because when they let him through, it's even worse. So, I feel like it's probably this. Then we go into territory of some Ivors. I think Water Ivor is not used at all anymore, right? That's pretty accurate. That's fairly accurate. Let's move on to Light Ivor. Made a video on it recently, and I think the unit is really insane. Someone actually pointed out that people should despair her, because she has a lot of times that she would hit. I think I still would like Swift more, but she definitely has decent to high win rate. With 54 win rate, and that's in G3, and G1 52 win rate. I definitely do like the unit for speed contesting, but it's also somewhat on the issue where I would say, like, okay, you need a lot of units on your Swift sets already. She carries you. Yeah, that's also the thing. Like, people were telling me, it's like, oh yeah, she doesn't do anything and her activation rates are shit. Yeah, true. Her activation rates are shit, but she gets so many skills off that at some point she is going to land shit. And she has the potential to strip all the freaking time. Plus, we're really in a single target damage dealing meta. A single target strip that moves many times is definitely strong. So I'm gonna place her here on 90. And people might disagree with me. And then I would say, I don't give a shit. I feel like she's really on 90. I feel like she's absolutely really strong. I love to fight her because of Tianlang. Yeah, true. If you have Tianlang, like, this is the biggest hard counted by Tianlang. Yes, that's true. Like, every time Tianlang becomes his own ragdoll like cocaine, the moment that he's fighting like a light Ivor. That's true. But yeah, I feel like that this thing, maybe I one down it because it's not picked as much. Yeah, I one down it because it's not picked as much. 85. Continuing on with Dark One, I'm not sure. Probably some Cleaves. I know some people here and there using it, but I don't think it's that crazy good. 51 win rate, it's not that bad. Also 51 win rate in G1. It's not bad per se, but I think it's just cleaving. It's like a Bastet, but a little bit better. 75. No, I don't like Cleaves. 70. It's too predictable, man. The moment you see this thing, either you just ban it, or you know exactly what's coming. So we have that. Then we have Fire Cassandra, which is actually a very good unit. Fire Cassandra is close to 50% win rate for a unit that she is. That is pretty insane. 10% pick rate. In G3, it's actually 51 win rate and close to 5.5 pick rate. That is really strong. And I also feel like she is really strong because the moment you're fighting ragdolls, just throw in a fire cast. Like, she's probably gonna do well. There's just a lot of those drafts you just throw in the fire cast and you're like, yep, this is probably gonna do well, whatever kind of way. Is she stronger than the 80 tier though? That is the big question. Like, she somewhat shows higher win rate than these units, but she's always a 5th pick. So 5th picks always do tend to have higher win rate. So it's somewhat unfair. But yeah, I would say that she's an 80 for me. Is she as strong as Douglas? Or does she feel stronger than Douglas? No, I would give her same tier. Like, it's used in different occasions, but it's kind of on like similar level. What's her ban rate? Ban rate is also pretty high. She goes up in the win rate if she's in the match. Yep. It does often happen that you trade 1 for 1. That's the bad part about it. Like, she gets the attack bar in, she kills something, but then you kill it before she has a chance to get her skill up again. So that is commonly to happen. But for that reason, I think she's there. Like, if she get her S2 instantly in the next turn she would go for, she will be way higher up. But she often has she has a 1 turn in between. Even if she kills, she has a 1 turn in between. And mostly she dies in that 1 turn because she's that squishy. But yeah, pretty nice unit throughout. We have the Dark Cassandra, and I saw that she was hella buffed by win rate for. Like, I don't know who did this. 62 win rate on a 3.5 pick rate. Like, who the hell or what the hell was actually picking that? Well, I did check. There was some drafts. Yeah, this guy. This guy had 75% win rate by its solo. Wait, let me check where that's... you can't see the battles on that right now. Yeah, his draft was Wedjat, Nikki, Kiara, Veronica, Ian. Yeah, that's unfair. Like, legit, I have 2 out of 5 of those units. Most people would say 0 out of 5. That's just unfair. That's unheard of. Like, with that kind of draft, it would make sense. Yes, thank you. But I would say she gets like a 70 for me. Like, she's not bad or anything, but she's not crazy. You have 3 of those? Not bad. You only need 2 more. But no runes. Okay, you need 2 more and then runes. Let's see what's the win rate for Lionel. Lionel Messi. Or Water Ezio. Water Ezio, not that high on the pick rate. It's actually weird that this pick rate is that low. Because people were spamming it with Maximilian drafts. I think this thing also becomes just a cleave. And I don't like cleaves. For me, Ezio gets like a 75. It becomes very predictable what Ezio's gonna do. Plus, Ezio is a high base speed unit, but then it's 113. Like, yeah, you're there. You are there. Veronica and Wedjat both around 235. Okay, that's nasty. He has runes ×3, so days you have to do a little bit more. Ian. Well, Ian is probably also hella buff then. Like, if that guy hella buffed the Kiara win rate, you also probably buffed Ian win rate by a shit ton. Let's see if we can find the unit. Well, I think this is all organized right now by the win rates of Special League, and therefore a lot of the net 5 units are just not showing or just high up there. And Ian is one of those, so I can't really fight Ian right now, but probably win rate of it is kind of shit. Like, I'm just gonna put it by feeling. I think Ian is here for RTA. Left column, was he? Oh yeah, you're right. Or is it Altair? No, this is Ian. Yeah, Ian win rate is also 63. Yeah, that's hella buff by that guy. Okay, maybe I put him here, 70. It does have like the specialty that you could snipe out and Marsha and then die after, I guess. Next up, we have some of them Indras, and this is the longest tier list so far. Man, they keep adding more units and making the meta more versatile, and therefore the tier list video gets longer. Like, people ask me sometimes, like, oh, why don't you get someone in your video of the tier list, make it together with like Sean B or a Babo? It's like, dude, I can't ask them to spend like a 3-hour call with me on stream. That's like, no, that ain't gonna happen. But this Indra is not used. This one for sure not. That one not. This one might. Dark Indra. Is an interesting unit. 50% win rate. Pick rate below 1%. In G3 and G1 it's 53 win rate. 1% pick rate. It's not bad. I would say it's once again one of those cleavers, good 5th unit, that's all. Vitra, that one was not picked as much, already checked that. Then we go into the new units. I'm not sure if I can find all of them. First of this one, pick rate is super low, win rate is also super low. That's for the wind one that gets the attack bar, I don't even know the names. Jessica might be the interesting one, which is the light. But I do know that Charge has it, but he didn't use it as much, so I don't expect it to be that crazy good. Win rate is 52, but pick rate like 0.13. This one also super low pick rate, so I can't really place it. I feel like she has some chances to be good, but I checked quite some matches in like replays, and it kind of felt on like Kiki level. Like, you feel like it's gonna do a lot, but then in the end you just kind of ignore it and kill it later. Like, it's one of those units you're like, yeah, this is super good, and then you're like, yeah, nope. This one is straight up meme tier. This one is so bad. Well, actually, everything that I didn't place in kind of fits meme tier. Let's look at this guy. The win rate is... I thought the win rate would be higher. It's just the win rate of less. Like, pretty sure if I click on this thing, the win rate of less is probably like insane. Oh, less is not even showing up in here. But less win rate with this thing was like super insane, like 70% plus. But I feel like he's nice, but I also feel like that like his S2 does good damage. But his S3 feels somewhat inconsistent in stunning because he has issues stunning wind and that kind of stuff. He is nice, but I don't feel like he's super crazy OP or anything. But I do feel that he has quite some potential to be good. He's gonna be meta at some point. So 75.5 for me on that one. Some people say it's like, yeah, he's like the light monkey. It's like, yeah, the difference is that the light monkey has 2 AoE stunts, is light, and pushes back. So, yeah, I don't know. But he's definitely nice. Like, the S2 is a branding strip and steal, and then the S2 is also the damage for... He absorbs, yeah, just a little bit. He doesn't, like, properly monkey absorbs. But, yeah, I feel like he could be pretty good. High base speed. Maybe I 1-up him. Yeah, he has potential to be pretty good. I 1-up him. S1 freeze, yeah, but that's just a 50%. But the S2 damage is like straight up like 8 or 9k. That part is definitely pretty nice. So yeah, I'm gonna put him at 80. And I do know that none of the others are used. Like the light one is super trash. Fire one is PvE, siege, weird stuff. Wind one might be somewhat ish, but is also kind of a nothing, I guess. Yeah, definitely not gonna be used. So those are all not great. Then we have the new units. Well, we put this one over there because I have it. Let me tell you, I already pulled twice a Twins Angel. I got the fire one twice. I wasted my ancient blessing for that one. Thank you. Rocky with support stats. Yeah, Rocky with less damage, and then Rocky is already doing too little damage. Wind one seems decent. Water one seems okay, but that's mainly just a speed lead chasing thing. Light and dark I'm not too sure about. So neither of these units I am very sure about where they would be at. I feel like I saw the wind one on Obabo's stream and I felt it underwhelming. Like it was just the other units carrying him. I do think that the wind one will be used because you have like strip and slow. And then you have like a stun later, that kind of stuff. Like it is kind of there, but this is more of a guess place rather than like thinking like it's actually that good because we have a lot of good strippers. Like we're not in lack of good strippers. Like look at the top, like good strippers like all across the place, right? We don't really need good strippers. We already have good strippers. That sounds so weird to say. This one with the speed buff, I don't even remember what he does on the other skills, but it was not impactful enough to remember. Wait, what the fuck did this thing do? The dark one was the one that buffs up and attack buffs or some shit, right? Or was that the strip and attack strip? I don't even know. Wait, let me check what these things do. They do so much that I don't even remember, but none of them were like super memorable. Fills up attack bar on the dark one, cleanse, and then the other skill was the armor break. So armor break, attack bar, up, push up. Yeah, no. Like this for me gets bypassed this. We have the light one that is strip AoE pushback attack buff. I feel that might have some, and then decrease also the target's ally cooldown. But the strip is somewhat inconsistent, but does have multi-hits though. And a cooltime increase. I feel like the light one is probably one of the better ones. But these are all like super guess picks because I don't really think they're any good. Or like super good. Or no, let's say I think they might be decent. Like I think these two might be decent, but it's more of a guess than knowing. And then the speed lead one removes. Yeah, it's single target, right? Yeah, it's doing single target weird shit. If that thing had like an armor break or some shit. I don't know. I think I'd give this my best. But those are more guess picks than knowing that they're any good. Low 1%. Just around 1%. But yep, you're totally right. Jackson. I feel like Jackson is just a counter pick. Like if you pick Jackson as a pick for you, well, is Jackson 80, 75, 7.5? Pick rate is that low. No, I feel like Jackson, if Jackson should have a higher stun rate on his S2, then it would be higher. How would you nerf Laura further? Remove the defense scaling damage. I think if you just do like the speed scaling damage or the defense scaling damage removed, then you're already in a good spot. She just does too ridiculous much damage for her whole kit. S1 proc on sleep is fucked too. Yeah, that kind as well. But yeah, I'm gonna leave the tier list as is. Yeah, true, it's fine. That's, well, Jen was sometimes all the way at the top, but she wasn't like 100 tier for a very long time though. I think she was like 95, but it's the same as, you can say the same thing about Tian Ling. Like Tian Ling was around like 95, like tier like all the time. But yeah, gonna end the recording with this.